here with race 1, sprinting on the main track, non-winners of 2 in life for $50,000. It's Secured Lender, who is currently the favorite down to the inside. First off the claim for Mike Maker for a horse that took a while to break his maiden.
I have no idea what this horse's odds are in this
4 to 5.
race. I don't see where this horse has some sort of gigantic speed figure edge over the others. It's a claim away from Chad Brown. Probably the horse to beat, but not this kind of favorite.
Shoot the Nickel, dropping class.
Yeah, I've tried this horse. It just seems like his best form is behind him.
Another class dropper, Turn and Count.
I like Turn and Count. Drops down for Carlos Martin. Does not have good numbers first time for a tag, but this horse has faced so much better.
Back to the dirt for Sir Cartwright.
Yeah, maybe part of the pace, but that's about it.
Big layoff for Keep On Coming.
Yeah, it's tough to bet horses over 2+ year layoffs, but his last start, he lost the likely Breeders' Cup Sprint favorite.
Yeah, Ben Tornado last time. And Tappert's Temper has had plenty of chances.
A lot of chances, but at least his last couple of races, he's showing some signs of life.
Go back to the 3, Turn and Count, who you had some interest in. Has been running against tougher. Last time out, V Cruiser was able to wire the field pretty comfortably in that spot, and I think a needed drop in class.
Yeah, caught behind a slow pace against, significantly better. And it just feels like a horse that needs this drop, and maybe the connection didn't really want to drop. They wanted to keep trying him. He's run some respectable figures, and I just think he's running in a very realistic spot. I do not believe by the time we get to post time he's going to be 9-2. I think he'll be a significant second choice, but we'll see.
Well, the favorite continues to be Secured Lender, though, at 4 to 5 as we bring Maggie Wolfendale in. Maggie, a very short price down to the rail. Does he back it up in person?
No. Not at all, Acacia. And 2, I'm a little leery of both the likely favorites in here, the 1 and 3, of getting the 6 furlongs. Now, obviously, class usually is a bigger factor than distance, but both of these horses are just built like individuals who want to kind of unravel that stride, and they have big loping kind of movement to them. So looking at Secured Lender, he is coming off a little bit of a layoff first off of the Mike Maker from Chad Brown claim, and his coat's gone the wrong way. His conditioning is lacking. He's lacking energy. He'll beat me today. There was nothing that I liked about this horse physically. Yes, it could be a vote of confidence that off of the maiden breaking score for 35, they step him up to 50, but he didn't do it for me. Looking at him in the paddock and out in the racetrack, his number 3, Turn and Count, does come off of relatively short rest. And this is a horse that in the past I've been impressed with. A big, lanky, and leggy son of Curlin. So right there, you would think longer is better as he'll sharply turn back to the 6 furlongs today. And yes, the argument could be made that a mile is good, and a 1-turn mile at that does suit him. But I'm a little concerned about the quick turnaround because this guy's weight is just not where I've seen it in the past. He's just kind of lightened up and looks a bit weaker across his top line. I get both of these horses could very well win based upon, the class relief that they received today. But physically, I was not necessarily impressed. Now, number 4, Sir Cartwright, he has been strictly against New York bred company, but he does take the step into claiming for the first time. But truth be told, his 3-year-old form is deplorable. This is a horse who has not taken a step forward whatsoever now as a 3-year-old here for Jeremiah Englehart. But he does get back to the dirt, which as a 2-year-old, he ran very well on it and ran figures that even if he gets back to those 2-year-old figures now, he could be competitive here. I just thought, relatively speaking against this field, he looked like a horse that is well suited to dirt sprinting and one that is doing well. I like the warm-up that I've seen from him as well. Now, I agree with Andy. I don't like taking horses off year layoffs, let alone 2+ year layoffs. But number 5, Keep On Coming, as Andy mentioned, facing Ben Tornado in that second start. Ran a figure as a 2-year-old that, again, with just a modicum of improvement, would make him a player in here. And he looks incredibly fit, is moving better than anybody out there. And I just really like what I'm seeing from this horse. And in Ned Allard, Acacia, I trust.
As do we, Maggie. Thank you. Such a good horseman. Probably best known for Allegon. Very talented turf sprinter, at least recently, that we've been seeing Ned shipping in with. But he's very dangerous and a sensational horseman. So really intriguing horse. He won first time out as a 2-year-old from Michael Yates. And then, as you said, faced Ben Tornado in stakes company after that.
Yeah. I'm not betting horses off 2+ year layoffs. I know Chad Brown will win this summer, but the record of these kind of horses is poor. And yeah, I'm with Maggie. I think Ned Howard's great. But this is a tough pill for me to swallow. Not going to be shocked if this horse runs okay, but I'll tell you something. I don't think anyone's going to claim this horse for $50,000, so it's not a whole lot of risk. But why not run him in a non-winners of one, give him a race and see where you stand.
Yep.
Maybe their feeling is he's tough to keep together. We're going to run him where they think he can win, and we'll see. I mean, listen, he ran well enough in both of his starts that he could win this race, but this is not a routine improvement 6-month layoff. This is a 26+ month layoff, and those are tough to take. I've gone with turn count. I've used the 5. The 1 has drifted back up a little bit. I'm trying to figure out why Sir Cartwright is the same price roughly as the 3 and 5. And the truth is, around here, when a horse that, at least to me, doesn't make a lot of sense, seems to be taking too much money, the money is often right. Now, this horse is running first time for a tag as well. Overall, Jeremiah Englehart does not have particularly good numbers. Neither does Carlos Martin, first time for a tag. And my question with this horse is, he's got one muddy track race where you got to figure good enough to win, but generally he's just a little on the slow side, isn't he?
He is, and while he is taking a drop in class, he was running against restricted New York bred companies, some of the others running against open first level allowance types, just tougher fields in general, I think, and it really seemed like his form tailed off. Then they tried the turf, which was
His last 2 dirt races were terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, listen,
it's not even, it's like if he had those races the end of 2024, but his races on dirt even in the summer were not that strong.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons, I mean, this is a statement of the obvious, but one of the reasons a secured lender seems to be an underlay in here is that they're not betting on the other ones. And it's sometimes a horse's price obviously is predicated by the amount of money being bet on a horse, but relative to the rest of the field. And it's almost like people don't want to take the horse off the 2-year layoff. They don't trust turn and count off the layoff. So all the money is just getting funneled into the 1 because they don't trust the other horses. Whether or not that turns out to be valid, we'll find out in a couple of minutes.
Even money still on secured lender. 3rd place finisher Cocktails and Kringle, who he beat, did come back to win with a 75 buyer speed figure and then get beaten in nose in his subsequent start. Don't you feel, though, like this is the type of horse that Chad Brown was probably thrilled when he got claimed last time out? Because for a barn like that, after 7 starts and they're not getting it done and it takes an aggressive
when you drop like
class.
that, your husband's a trainer. Most of the time you want to win and get claimed.
Right.
And the interesting thing was this did seem like an awfully aggressive drop.
Right.
He won by a length and a half, 3/4 over a career maiden who finally broke her maiden his maiden by a head the other day here. So he was running in the right spot. I guess one of the things about the 4, I should say, he is potentially the speed in this race. And that may have something to do with the fact that he's taking more money than I would have expected. I don't know what price the morning line had him. I probably should look. He had him 6-1, David. So, but he also had turn and count at 5-2. So I guess when turn and count's a bigger price, others have to go lower. And that, particularly the one that's gone lower, is the 1.
Makes sense to see how sharp Keep On Coming is after that 2+ year layoff as well. 4-5 still on the number 1 secured lender as they head towards the starting gate, getting ready to kick off the card here. Belmont at the Big A on this Thursday. Shoot the nickel. Just a little bit obstinate behind the starting gate. There he goes. We get ready to kick off today's early pick 5 and the Thursday card. Chris Griffin standing by with the rest of the load and call.
Thank you so much. Ready to kick off this Thursday afternoon card. Here is Sir Cartwright. Keep On Coming. Keep On Coming. Dylan Davis. Last to load, Tappert's Temper, Christian Geraldo. The opener. All set. And they're off. Speed to the outside from Keep On Coming has now got a neck advantage. Hard sent to secured lender. Flavien Prat holds that rail position and wants the lead. Now with a neck advantage, secured lender at the rail, but no easy leads. It's coming right back to the outside. Dylan Davis and Keep On Coming. They put a nose back in front. Sir Cartwright has now moved into third. Is cruising right along. Is right in behind. A pace duel on the front end as they work into the far turn. 22 seconds flat for the opening quarter. Shoot the Nickel is under a drive here, trying to keep up for Rosario. Just behind them, Taprit's Temper, and the one far, far out of it, Turn and Count. As here comes Sir Cartwright just looming in behind. Those two pace setters, secured lender has almost dispatched to Keep On Coming, but here comes a new challenger 3 wide and Sir Cartwright in hand. Sir Cartwright ready to challenge. Secured lender is not done. Secured lender is kicked on. 45 seconds flat was at half, and secured lender is opening up the margin again. Sir Cartwright continues to give Game Chase a final furlong to get. It's secured lender who's still opening up this advantage. Sir Cartwright is alone in second, far back to the rest. Maybe Shoot the Nickel on the outside, but secured lender, much the best, sprints away. Secured lender wins it over Sir Cartwright, then came Shoot the Nickel and Keep On Coming. 1 minute 8 and 4.
Secure Lender went off at 4 to 5, and it turns out that was the right price. Has had a little bit of company early with Keep On Coming, but he just pulled away best from this field.
Well, I think ultimately what we talked about at the end turned out to be the case. They wanted no part of the 3, who's dropping because he can't run at all anymore. The 5 was coming off an extended layoff, so he's a bit dubious. It didn't really leave much else, and I guess the 4 of the other ones was the one to take some money, but that's why this horse was a short price. A combination of this horse having some ability, but also incongruous with not wanting the other horses that seemed somewhat logical on paper. It was almost an anti-3 play, and whoever had the idea of the anti-3 play weren't named Andy Serling, because I bet him, and they were right, because that horse trailed by a lot the whole way. Secured lender, that's Flavien Prat. He's riding a horse like this in the rail. He's going to go.
Yep. Smart move for sure. Gets the job done at 4 to 5 to 1 and 3. Claimed out of this first race. It was 1-4-2-5. Race 1. 4 to 5 shot getting the victory here with Flavien Prat and Mike Maker kicking off the afternoon. Coming up this weekend, we're going to have some very cool New York breds in the spotlight on Empire Showcase Day. Bank Frenzy and Iron Dome will go head to head in the Empire Classic. More on that after this.
The Cup is calling at the Breeders' Cup with Naira Bets. Download the Naira Bets app or sign up at nairabets.com to get a $25 free bet and $200 deposit match bonus today. Watch live horse racing, get expert picks, and boost your bankroll with lucrative promotions. Play the Breeders' Cup World Championship with Naira Bets. New players sign up now to claim your $25 free bet and $200 deposit match only with Naira Bets.
We're back on America's Day at the Races, brought to you in part by Naira Bets. You can bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Get started at nairabets.com today. Checking out the New York City skyline, which we love, as Secured Lender is checking out the winner's circle. It's a victory here in race 1 with Flavien Prat aboard. Wins back-to-back races and has just found the level at which he belongs.
Yeah, I mean, this was a good performance. Keep in mind, you see the 108.99 final time. Final times are more based on how quick the track is, or not quick it is, than the horse is running. He's not a stakes quality horse that's going to run, those kind of numbers in big races. But right, it's running where they belong.
Yeah.
And you could say, well, he ran better than running for the 50. I don't know. Did he really? I mean, look who ran second in this race. I think that mostly this race.
For the 50,000, this was not the toughest field that you could find.
I mean, right. I mean, I think this race was. I mean, he ran well. I'm not knocking him. What I'm saying is, a lot of this race was about a lot of horses not showing up. I mean, the three ran like he was 10,000 to 1. I mean, he trailed the entire way around the track and never lifted a hoof. And the 5 ran fine. He ran like a horse that needed a race. He dueled in a quick pace, and he fell apart a little bit. Big shock. He was off a 2-year layoff.
Yep. Moving on to race number 2, as it's on the turf, a mile and a 16th in this maiden special weight, and even money right now on Up for an Oscar. Horse that looked quite promising at the start of his 3-year-old season. Fortunately, that was back in January, and we haven't seen him since, so he does have the layoff to contend with.
Yeah, that was actually Pegasus Day that he ran. I know the morning line maker was crazy for making him the favorite, and I picked him. Clearly, he wasn't crazy. He was right as he usually is. Now, he's not supposed to be even money. His race wasn't that good. Second place finisher, a pretty good horse who broke his maiden later at Keeneland, hasn't been seen since. I think Chad Brown actually has him now. But Disclaimer and Wicked Improbable are not slouches.
Right.
I mean, they're pretty good, so he's going to have to run to beat those horses.
Talk a little bit more about this race 2 in a moment, but as you mentioned before the break, coming up on Saturday, a day that all of us really enjoy, Empire Showcase Day, all about the New York Breds and jam-packed with New York Bred stakes action throughout the afternoon.
No, these are really, really fun days, and celebrating horses that are a huge, huge part of our program here, and a lot of good horses in those races as well. Something we've been enjoying here for a long, long time. These this series is a little over 30 years old going back. Now, obviously, we normally have it at Belmont. We'll be back at Belmont for it next year, but I'm looking forward to this day, as I know you are, and I think everyone is looking forward to it.
Yeah, the Empire Classic coming up as race 10 on Saturday. And taking a look at the field, we have kind of the 2 big names of the older New York Breds. You have kind of the younger up-and-comer, the 3-year-old Iron Dome, who's been very good this year. And then Bank Frenzy, who is the 5-year-old, who we did see successful in the Commentator 2 starts back, and a horse that has run some really nice races throughout.
Yeah, I don't think he tailed off as much as facing some tougher horses. I actually think he's the horse to beat in this race. Nothing against Iron Dome, who's obviously gotten very good and is dangerous for you, as is Doc Sullivan. I know you think of Doc Sullivan, he's probably a little better, a little shorter, but I wouldn't count him out here either. But, I mean, this is a horse, they paid a lot of money for a gelding with him, and it turned out to be a great buy, because not only have they got their money, more than their money back, but they've also had a lot of fun with it, and the idea in this game is to have some fun. And he's been terrific, and Rudy has just done a sensational job, not only getting to run well, but keeping his form for a long time. And this is a horse that Rudy's horse has been running very well here, but this horse would run well even Rudy was a little colder. He's just continuously run well.
And last time in the Morrissey, that was a big field, and it was kind of, you had the 2-turn and sprinters kind of coming together at the 7 furlongs, and it came up an incredibly contentious group. He had the rail, which is not ideal for Bank Frenzy.
Yeah, and also, that was a race where the pace completely held together. And while he wasn't that far out of it, he's not a speed type for a 7-furlong race, and it gave advantages to horses like Doc Sullivan, the Wine Steward as well in there. And they're pretty good, though. I do think that Doc Sullivan's a big-time player. It's a fun race. Looking forward to it. Quick to Accuse shouldn't be completely ignored either.
Yeah, Quick to Accuse, funny enough, actually the brother to Iron Dome, both of them bred by Chester and Mary Broman, kind of celebrating.
Pictures in the winner's circle.
Should we do family pictures? Yeah, I agree. Their Christmas card. Here's Iron Dome in the Albany, though. He came back on a quick turnaround after that allowance win. He was a little bit slow to kind of come to hand, but then seemed like he figured it out. And both Iron Dome and Quick to Accuse, the brother to one one of our favorite New York Reds, and Mr. Buff.
Ah, yes. Well, he's really, I mean, he's been very, very good. And his second place finish in the Oklahoma Derby was a good effort as well. The heavy favorite, I believe, beat him that day.
Bracket buster.
Horse with big credentials. Brad Cox, I want to say.
No, Vicky Oliver.
Vicky Oliver, thank you. He's good. I mean, I have no knock on him at all. But this is a little bit tougher. He hasn't been running against, at least around here, against the likes of Bank Frenzy, who's pretty darn good, as is Doc Sullivan.
Yeah, has to face these older, kind of battle-tested, tried-and-true New York breds. He is the young, up-and-coming 3-year-old. You've got those older horses with the likes of Bank Frenzy and Doc Sullivan. Doc Sullivan, who ran really well, to be honest, finishing 4th in both the Forgo and the Vosburg recently, going back into New York breds.
Well, he's actually the one getting class relief in this race.
I know.
So, yeah, I think he's very dangerous, especially from down on the rail.
Did actually run well at Milan in 8th, finishing 2nd to Panagate in the Albany last summer, so he's shown he can handle it. As far as the fillies and mares are concerned, in the Empire Distaff a little bit earlier on the card, we will have a chance to see several of the horses that we know very well as well. Taking a look at the Fleet Indian, Bernie Takes Charge first. Trying to find the race. It's race 7 on the card a little bit earlier on. Bernie Takes Charge, who tried the personal ensign and the likes of Torpedo Anna and Darth Vader last time. She's going back to New York breds.
Yeah, I thought that Dominic missed an opportunity. He had entered her against the New York breds on the turf. And, you know, her turf races were kind of before she got good, and that might have been a race to take a shot with her. As opposed to the personal ensign, where she never had a chance. She was going to have to compete with horses like Randomized on the front end. She's gotten very good. Now, she's had tracks in her favor. She's beating the talented Sterling Silver here, who's better going shorter. I have a tough time believing she's only going to be a 5-2 favorite. She looks like a pretty heavy favorite, at least to me.
Talk about a horse getting class relief, that's for sure, as we do have a chance to see the top 3 coming out of the Fleet Indian from Saratoga in Viamente, K-Cup, and Valtellina. They will get a chance to rematch, and Viamente is another one who I think runs better when she's able to use that speed.
And that's the problem. She's not going to be able to get in front of Bernie Takes Charge.
Yep.
So she's not going to be able to run her preferred race. I wonder about K-Cup, who's obviously talented, if she really wants a 1.8 miles.
I know.
Kind of wonder if they might have been better off taking her in the sprint race, though it's obviously a much tougher race. And I think of the 3, maybe Valtellina, Ray Handel's horse, she might be the one that benefits the most from there being more speed in this race.
Agreed. She will be closing. She finished 3rd last time out, Valtellina, and her first time going the mile in 8th. But it is interesting to see those rematch. You've got Boxed Wine, who's found a new home on the dirt as well. Midnight Concerto switching turf to dirt. Looking forward to all of those New York breds coming up this weekend. Horses in the paddock for race number 2, though. There is Up for an Oscar off of the layoff since January. More on him after this.
$1,600,000 $1,600,000 bid now $650,000 $1,650,000 anybody else want $650,000 bid today $1,650,000 $1,600,000 thank you. Spine tingling, jaw dropping, awe-inspiring, Secretariat-like.
Introducing a stallion, as top class as they come. In 22 career starts, he won or placed in 12 graded stakes, competing in 15 grade ones, earning over $1.7 million. His undisputed speed is evidenced by 7 100-plus Spire speed figures, a 3-time Grade 1 winner, Raging Bull.
Friday and Saturday night on America's Day at the Races, special team coverage for the Breeders' Crown, the year-end championship series from Woodbine Mohawk Park. Harness action Friday night, 8 Eastern, and Saturday, 7:30 Eastern on FS2. Weekends are for winners at NYRA Bets. Opt into the Late Pick 5 hit and split bonuses to claim your share of $5,000 every Friday through Sunday. $5,000 hit and splits every weekend when you bet with Naira Bets.
Well, we've been here since 1910. Started here with my great-grandfather. They moved the operation from Virginia to present-day Claiborne in Paris, Kentucky. Long lineage between my grandfather, Bull Hancock, who was really influential in importing European stallions. And those stallions ended up kind of transcending the American bloodstock, and they're still evident and prevalent throughout the pedigrees today. My father, he had Mr. Prospector. He brought him up from Florida. He's had Danzig. Obviously, Secretariat was his first stallion that he ever syndicated, so he caught lightning in a bottle right off the bat, and I'm trying to do the same thing now. Certainly, we've come along and been really lucky and gotten some really good stallions along the way. Warfront's obviously in the sunset of his career. He's been unbelievable for us. We're looking for someone to fill his shoes, and we're excited about Mindframe. We think he can be that next big horse for us. Annapolis has had his first foals on the ground, and they're looking unbelievable. Certainly Prince of Monaco, he has his first that are in utero, and we're looking forward to those foals in the spring. We've really put an emphasis on our September sale this year, more so than years past. We're feeling confident that we have a really good group, and hopefully the sales results will prove that. We've had a lot of wonderful clients over the years that have really supported us and backed us, and that's been one of the main reasons why we've had the success we've had. We couldn't do it without them. It's hard to be in business for 115 years if you're not doing things the right way. Our motto is do the usual and usually well, and we've always felt like if you take care of the horse is going to take care of you, and we've certainly been lucky in that regard.
And America's Day at the Races is brought to you in part by Claiborne Farm, 100 years of doing the usual and usually well. We're getting ready for race 2 on the turf, maiden special weight, and a lot of eyes revolving around the 2 up for an Oscar. High-priced son of Oscar Performance, selling for $725,000 as a 2-year-old after working 9 and 4. And he ran well. The winner wiring the field on debut, Pegasus World Cup undercard, as you mentioned. And we'll see what he does off the bench.
Yeah, I was interested in him. I obviously badly misread it. I never thought he'd be favored in here. I obviously am too stupid to realize that Flavien Prat and Chad Brown are getting overbet in everything they run, and Chad's horse has been running very well at this meet. I get it. I think that this Disclaimer and Wicked and Probable, considerably higher prices, are better bets, even though I picked the 2. I did not see this kind of price differential.
Up for an Oscar, 6-5 now. Maggie, what is he showing you off that big layoff?
He's a very good-looking horse here, Acacia, and I like the way that he comes in here physically for the fact that he's well-muscled, he's strong, and he does have that air of confidence, that kind of intangible nature and demeanor that you come to expect from horses that have some talent. And furthermore, Chad has been matching him up with some of his better horses in his barn when it comes to his preparations for this return race. He had been working with Zulu Kingdom, albeit on the dirt. Not quite as well as him. General Partner, not quite as well as him. He did work way back when with Early Adopter. It's not shown there on the workout lines there, but in early August, he went along nicely with Early Adopter, who is kind of like an overnight stakes type or high-level allowance type of horse, and was going along very nicely with him. So all things good for a horse that it does seem as though some kind of have higher expectations, though have had to be patient with this $725,000 son of Oscar Performance. And he does look a lot like his sire, which I often like to see. Now, another horse that comes in here off of a layoff, a shorter one at that, though, is number 6, Team of Rivals for Jimmy Toner. He got to the front end in his debut while breaking mid-pack there, put his ears up and kind of bowled along on the front end. He just got a little bit tired late after putting away the other pace challenge, who kept him company the whole way around there. The problem is, though, and while I wish I'd seen this horse first time out, he just doesn't look very fit. He kind of has a bit of a belly to him, just very heavy boned and bodied type. So he still gives the impression that another start is going to be needed for him to do his best running. And you would think that with a horse like Suspiciously Named in here, getting to the front end isn't going to be quite as easy. Acacia?
See if he's able to do that today. Maggie, thank you. Team of Rivals, second-time starter. Always Love to see Jimmy Toner with a horse represented here on the Naira circuit. I got to see Jimmy's daughter Catherine last week when he had a runner, but unfortunately did not get to see Jimmy.
No, we love Jimmy,
Yeah.
and glad to see he's running. So he got a horse in over the next few days. It's hard to keep them together as well. Maybe it's tomorrow. And I do think this horse is okay. You know, he ran all right last time. The problem that I see for him is his other speed. Officially named is going to be forward, and this is a tough field, but I don't think this horse is without talent. I just don't know if he's necessarily good enough to win this race, but I picked him fourth and could certainly see him running well in here. And anything that Jimmy brings to the racetrack, I'm interested in.
Let's take another look at 9-1 on that one now. The two up for an Oscar taking most of the attention, but we do have a couple of horses, as you touched on, coming out of that September 20th race that Quando finally got his win. That does include Wicked Improbable and Disclaimer.
Well, one of the reasons he got his win is these horses didn't show as much speed as we thought. One of the reasons for that might be that Disclaimer broke a step slow, and it wasn't that slow, but it's slow enough when the pace is being set by a horse with real speed like Quando, and both he and Wicked Improbable ended up farther back than they probably should have. And I feel like a little with Wicked Improbable, it may have been a bit of an overreaction to him seemingly running off the time before and getting nailed at the wire, where I think he might be better if he's at least a little bit more forward. Now, he's not going to be in the lead in this race, but at least be a little more forward. I thought he was too far back in that race,
Yeah.
as was Disclaimer.
I would agree. As you said, Quando was able to control things. Wicked Improbable, certainly Maggie knows him best, but in his first couple of starts, I did those, and he got very hot and washy prior to his race, and can he's a lot before the race even begins. And so I'm wondering if it's finding the sweet spot of being able to switch him off.
Well, I mean, I don't think he was running off in that
No.
race 2 races back. I mean, the pace was fairly moderate. It was almost more amazing that he lost, frankly. I mean, he
That was
looked
a
like
tough
a
beat.
cinch 50 yards to the wire. It looked like.
Yeah.
I remember I was watching it in the box in Saratoga, and I was thinking, you know, I'd bet him. I thought, this race is over. I was looking for second horses, and he got caught at the wire. I was literally stunned.
Maggie, I know you are well familiar with Wicked Improbable. How's he doing today?
Yeah, Keisha, I think you caught me riding him one morning, actually. He has matured so much, though, from the beginning of summer to now. He's a totally different horse here in the paddock. I remember asking you first time out, how is Tom's horse acting? Because I knew he would probably be bad, and second time he was over the top. So Tom was actually pleased with the fact that Ricardo Santana got him to settle. And obviously here at Aqueduct, it will just naturally have that effect on horses, making them a bit more reserved and not over excited about the races. That's the same thing I'm seeing from him here today. We'll see. I agree, you know, forward placement's always better, but don't look for him to be, you know, blasting away from there. I think settling him has been the game plan.
Makes a lot of sense. Maggie, thank you. Yeah, I did. I pulled into the backside one morning and I saw Maggie and I was like, oh, hi. On the back of Wicked Improbable.
He's run well in all of his starts. He's a good horse. He's way too big a price at 5-1.
He is. As we'll get a chance to meet the rest of the field, they step onto the track here, suspiciously named, as he should be speed, though he's stepping up in class.
Picks up Ruben Silvera for the injured Romero Mirage. This horse actually ran pretty well last time.
He did.
I just don't know how he classes up with these horses, but his recent effort's been pretty good.
Here's up for an Oscar off that layoff.
I picked him, but to me, this is an outrageously low price as Flavian looks to win the early double and underlays.
Disclaimer probably impacted most at the start last time.
I agree, and he was way too far back in that race. He can certainly win here.
Another for Chad Brown, Atomic Age.
He's going to have to get better. He was a little bit wide last time out and didn't run that badly, but I just don't think he's good enough to win this race.
Acting better today, Wicked Improbable.
I think he's another major player here. He's run well every time he's run.
Team of Rivals for Jimmy Toner.
Second-time starter, can improve. Is he going to be capable of rating effectively in this field?
There is In the Dark to the outside for Eddie Barker out of that same race that Quando won.
And he really didn't run that badly last time, just not well enough, and it's a tough spot for him. He's a big price, but he's not untalented either.
Yeah. We'll take a quick time out. We'll continue this discussion of this second race and see if up for an Oscar can be up for a win today off the layoff. Stay with us on America's Day at the Races. Race 2 coming up soon.
This proven son of Giants Causeway has sired 7 millionaires. With over 10% stakes performers, his recent top runners include Tarabi, placed in the Grade 1 Spinaway and Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies, Grade 2 winner Plum Ali, plus these standout performers. a proven value sire. First Samurai, standing at Claiborne Farm.
We're back on America's Day at the Races. Glad to have you with us as we get closer and closer to race 2, maiden special weight on the turf. There is the 3 disclaimer. We just watched that last race where it almost seemed he was just slow enough that Andy, kind of the whole of where he would want to go forward was shut off early and just not really any opportunity to get forward position.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem with breaking even just a little bit slow.
You invite the trouble.
You put yourself in a situation where everybody has a little bit of an advantage of you, and you can very easily end up getting shuffled out unless the horse has enough speed or the rider is aggressive enough to get him out of that spot. And I just think, and I'm not trying to beat up on Louis Rivera, but I think it's something I've seen Kendrick Carmouche be very good at. John Velasquez, very good at. You get, they're just naming a couple riders, other guys too. You know, Manny, you break a little slow. It almost, you realize, I'll give you a great example of it. Malathot, when she won the Kentucky Oaks.
Yeah.
If she did not break that well, and Johnny did a sensational job of sort of forcing her into position. If he hadn't done that, search results would have won the Kentucky Oaks. I've been very happy. But Johnny won that race in the beginning because she broke a little slow, and he realized, if I don't do something, it's a big field, I'm going to get completely shuffled out to nowhere, and that's where his expertise and riding skills, but also his experience, realizing I have to do something immediately to extract myself from the situation, because if you don't, if you're passive, everything just falls apart in front of you. It's a domino effect.
Yeah, excellent example. We'll see how things do play out today. But Maggie, a lot of money coming in for one Chad Brown horse, but he does have another in the field.
He does, and on paper there's nothing I can recommend about Atomic Age other than the fact that this is the first time that he gets to pair races up relatively closer together. Now, look, when you look at his form, he looks slow, to be honest, and he certainly wasn't flattered by the second place finisher coming out and winning. He is a Jersey bred, to be fair, but he only posted a 64 buyer in getting that victory. He was caught too wide, and he was kind of outside of a bit of a rank horse, so maybe unsettling him a little bit in that last race. And then he kind of got caught behind horses at the quarter pole, and once he finally got out, he made a really, really mild rally. But it was his first start in nearly a year. And today, he looks incredibly fit. I've always liked this horse because he's very athletic looking, and he's really appealing to the eye. he presented himself incredibly well in the paddock. So, yes, I much prefer Chad's other horse in here, Up for an Oscar, but I think Atomic Age, you could take the standpoint that there might be upside with this horse finally getting to pair races back to back and obviously having that first start off of the 11-month layoff under his belt. Number 7, In the Dark, he was stretching out for the first time in that last common race back on September 20th, and I have to say I'm not thrilled with him going too much further. He is a horse that, while he is big strided, I could see that in the warm-up, he is a bit smaller in his conformation, and he, rightfully so, which often happens with horses stretching out for the first time, got a little rank. He kind of drifted out in the second turn. He was tough to handle, and I wonder with Louis Rivera aboard, and not that he's going to be Suspiciously Named to the front, if Louis just kind of puts his hands down and lets him bowl along a little bit more comfortably. Unfortunately, with the outside post, that's not the greatest, I think, post position for a horse that might want to get out a little bit, especially around this first turn, but not a bad looking sort whatsoever. As Andy said, there's some talent in there. I'm just not sure we see the best at a mile and a 16th, Acacia.
And we'll see if he can handle it. Maggie, thank you. Can see getting just a touch hot already there on the track. In the Dark. Certainly one that is a bit intriguing. Actually broke on top last time out and then was kind of outfooted quickly as Quando went to the lead.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious how. I think the way this race is going to be run is Suspiciously Named and Ruben Silvera are going to go from the rail. I think you'll see Team Arrivals sitting outside him, but I do think both Wicked Improbable and Disclaimer will do a better job being more forward. I know, Maggie's saying how Tom was happy. Well, I don't agree with a lot of these trainers, and that sometimes includes Chad Brown, that they want their horses covered up and doing. I'd rather their horses are in positions not to be victimized. And I think that Wicked Improbable, he wasn't necessarily going to beat Quanta that day, but he was victimized by the way the race was run as much as anything, because I think he has the talent to win that race, and I think he ended up being farther back than was in his best interest personally.
I do think it's often a very European turf mindset. Cover up, be comfortable, switch off, and then come with a run on the grass.
Yes, I mean, that was something your father-in-law agreed with. Your husband,
very much so.
We were talking about this. I see that Miguel is more aggressive. I agree with him. I just think if you look at American racing, aggression gets rewarded. And one of the reasons it gets rewarded is far too many people don't want to be aggressive. I understand there's a difference between turf and dirt, but even on turf, sometimes it's better to be aggressive. And I do think that the 8-7 can be forward. I just don't know if he's quite as fast as some of the others, and he's breaking from the outside.
See how it plays out on the turf for race 2. Here's Chris Griffin.
Set. And they're off. Awkward beginning there for Disclaimer. Feet maybe out of the irons there for a second for Dylan Davis. Does recover, but is going to be the trailer after the start. Suspiciously Named towards the front is in the 2-path here, well off the rail, and right there in second is going to be Up for an Oscar. No hurry on the front end. Suspiciously Named is in front. Up for an Oscar is content again to sit right there in second. Wicked Improbable has moved through very easily at the rail, has taken a shared third with In the Dark, who's back to fourth. Then behind them, that's patiently ridden towards the back end, their Team of Rivals, and Team of Rivals is in front of Disclaimer, and the trailer, Atomic Age. They bend around this turn, and they work to the backstretch, and they went 23.41 for the opening quarter mile. Suspiciously Named. Now a little keen here, wants to go, starts the sprint, is now opened up by 2, almost 3 lengths here. Ruben Silvera trying to slow things down, but Suspiciously Named wants to go. Up for an Oscar, the big favorite, no excuses, is sitting right here in second, leading that 3 group in behind. As moving up on the outside, In the Dark is 3 wide and starts to make a mid-race move. At the rail, that's Wicked Improbable. In between horses, there comes Team of Rivals, Atomic Age, and Disclaimer. Still the 2 trailers. 48.60 for the half-mile time, and Suspiciously Named opens up once again. Up for an Oscar is trying to keep up. Flavien Prat is now working on Up for an Oscar, who lost ground in the turn, has got to pick it up from second, the big favorite, as they reach the top of the lane. Suspiciously Named is now coming back to the field. Up for an Oscar is ducking down towards the inside, is trying to make up ground and not doing it. Wicked Improbable and Santana make a move at the rail. Wicked Improbable, Up for an Oscar. A little green here, starting to get to the task, but Up for an Oscar to the outside, Wicked Improbable to the inside. These two go back and forth, and here's Atomic Age lifting late. Atomic Age in time. Big move from Atomic Age late, won it. Then came a photo. That's Wicked Improbable with Up for an Oscar in 1 minute 44 seconds flat.
I don't even know where he came from. Atomic Age came flying late to just nab Wicked Improbable, who looked like he was home fighting the good fight over, up for an Oscar.
Maybe that first quarter ended up being a little too fast for the others, but this horse kicked in and he improved dramatically off his first few races. What a great ride by Ricardo Santana on Wicked Improbable.
Yeah.
He got him in better position. He came up the rail, did everything but win the race, and well, for an Oscar, was preposterously overbet at 3-5. He ran fine. He was never on the inside. He was always sort of in chase mode, but he shouldn't have been that short. But this horse, I mean, this was a tough horse to like on paper. And you know what? The best race of all might have been run by Disclaimer, but he can't get out of the gate anymore.
Yeah, we'll take a look at what happened with the start. Keep your eyes on the 3. Disclaimer, that's now twice in a row that he's had trouble at the gate, and he's going to kind of stumble and break in, and I think Dylan Davis is lucky to keep his seat there.
Might have had to correct his balance. Not his fault. This horse was rugging in badly.
Yep.
And, I mean, that's an issue that potentially cost him the win in this race. But an overbet Chad Brown horse loses to another Chad Brown horse that I couldn't have had in a million years.
Tough beat for Wicked Improbable, who really did
Yeah.
improve coming up the rail there. Just got run down by Atomic Age. As Maggie touched on, was now being able to pair races back-to-back together off the layoff here, and clearly benefited from that last start.
I guess, yeah. I mean, he's a tough one to make on paper. It just seemed like the others were faster. And, you know, I feel bad, even though Wicked Improbable had a great trip, and you can say he had no excuse to lose. If you bet Wicked Improbable at 5-1, I feel like it's a frustrating beat. If he had been 2-1 or something, I'd say, well, he was 2-1 and he got a great trip and he just lost a race he probably should have won. But at 5-1, he was an overlay.
Yeah, of course, we root for Tom and Maggie, but tough beat for Wicked Improbable, who ran very well. Atomic Age came flying late, though, to get the win. 4-5, 2-3 in race 2. When we come back, Sovereignty has reigned supreme this year as far as the 3-year-old division is concerned. He's gearing up to face Older in the Breeders' Cup Classic and take his show to the West Coast.
Number 1 is Mo Donegal by Uncle Mo. And they're off in the Remsen. As they come on for the finish, and it's going to be tight here in the Remsen. Mo Donegal bearing down on the outside. It's Mo Donegal and early voting, and it is Mo Donegal to win the Wood Memorial. And it will be Mo Donegal to win the Test of the Champion, the Belmont Stakes.
The Cup is calling at the Breeders' Cup with Naira Bets. Download the Naira Bets app or sign up at nairabets.com to get a $25 free bet and $200 deposit match bonus today. Watch live horse racing, get expert picks, and boost your bankroll with lucrative promotions. Play the Breeders' Cup World Championship with Naira Bets. New players sign up now to claim your $25 free bet and $200 deposit match only with Naira Bets.
The only colt ever to win 3 one-mile Grade 1s on dirt. Ran the fastest buyer of the year. That's him, 6 wide, streaking clear.
Here comes Cody's
2 more Grade 1s at 7/8. Here's his forego, also running a 112 bite. That's 5 Grade 1s all told. No other son of Sires Curlin has so many. They say, be careful what you wish for. We agree.
You're watching America's Day at the Races, brought to you by America's Best Racing, making the sport easier to follow. Explore stories, betting tips, and race day insights at americasbestracing.net. Atomic Age heading into the winner's circle, homebred for Peter Brandt. I think a huge step forward today, able to come running when it seemed that the race was kind of being dominated by some logical players up front.
A friend of mine texted me and said that horse would have been 25 to 1 if Chad wasn't training him, and I can't really argue with him. It's a good ride by Jose Lezcano, but this horse really, really kicked in late. I guess, you know, they've got the turf is firm. It's probably closer to good. We had that rain on Wednesday in the morning. Curses were listed as good yesterday. And also keep in mind, it's not cold out, but we're in the 50s, so it's not going to dry the same way. So I think that first quarter of 23.41 in relative terms was pretty quick.
Yeah, something to keep in mind as well. Still waiting for official prices, but it is 4-5-2-3, 12 to 1 on Atomic Age, getting the victory there in race 2. But a race that we are all very excited for is this year's Breeders' Cup Classic. Pre-entries came out yesterday, and we'll take a look at who could line up in the field. Todd Pletcher represented by 4. Got last year's Breeders' Cup Classic winner, Sierra Leone. You've got Forever Young coming over again from Japan. And then, of course, you have Sovereignty, the 3-year-old who has been exceptional this year, going to take on Older. And, of course, coming in off that Travers victory.
Yeah, he's not the only good 3-year-old in here, you know, and you've got horses like Baeza Journalism, even Nevada Beach. I think for Bob Baffert, in a different Breeders' Cup Classic, he would have been a little more interesting. This is such a tough race. And, listen, Sovereignty is obviously... He's one of these horses that keeps getting better with all of his starts. And that's the earmark of Bill Mott. And Bill Mott knows what to do with a good horse. And that's probably an understatement. And this is a very, very, very good horse. And some could say, well, it's been fortunate for Bill to have got the Godolphin horses. I would say it's the other way around. I think Godolphin is fortunate to have Bill training for him. Because first of all, Bill had a lot of success for him in the past with Darley. But when he started getting the horse again after Tommy Albertrani retired, he's done nothing but do well with him. Cody's Wish, so many others out there that he's done really well with. And this is a very good horse. And the problem is, from a speed figure standpoint, let's just say he runs his Travers. He's the fastest horse in the race. So the others, you know, and I think Sierra Leone, considering the trouble he had in the Jockey Club, ran a figure that could be close enough. But what happens if Sovereignty improves off of that last race? He's been improving with every start, basically. And the others aren't going to improve that much. They're ready-made late 4-year-olds. Sovereignty takes another step forward. I think he's going to be an underlay, but he's also probably going to win.
Kind of a scary thought as we bring Maggie into this conversation. Maggie, he had his final work in Saratoga on Sunday, and has been the case with his last couple of works. His quote-unquote company has just been left in the dust.
And it really goes to show, Acacia, how much horses can change. As you guys were referencing, the Travers, it could just be another stepping stone to a faster race, as we have seen this horse mature throughout the year when it comes to his workouts as well. Remember going into the Fountain of Youth and the Florida Derby, and people saying, oh, he's not working that well, but yet he was kind of showing up in those races. But now he's just putting it all together as a racehorse. And as you said, he leaves his company far behind, as he did complete the 5/8 in 101 and nearly two, for this penultimate breeze heading into the Breeders' Cup Classic. They did leave yesterday to ship out to Del Mar. He will have his final workout out there. And as you caught up with Bill, him stating that just going out there because you want to avoid any problems that may arise when it comes to travel. But what a phenomenal horse that we have had the privilege to watch develop throughout this 3-year-old campaign. And it really feels like the sky's the limit. A horse who has mentally matured, as I was mentioning, but also just physically done incredibly well. And with him as one of the likely favorites, obviously he's going to have to take down a already Breeders' Cup Classic winner in Sierra Leone, who did it as a 3-year-old, but also some really nice other horses in here too, such as Fierceness, Mindframe, Antiquarian, Forever Young. Let's not forget about him. So it's going to be a really good Breeders' Cup Classic, but in my opinion, he deserves to be the quote-unquote one to beat.
Really excited to see what he can do. Maggie, thank you. He has a big hunk of horse flesh, Sovereignty. You cannot miss him when he goes out in Saratoga.
And I'm glad that Maggie mentioned Antiquarian.
Yeah.
I'm not sure he isn't as likely to win as any of Todd's 3 horses.
Improved.
And Todd's got good horses in here. I mean, there's no doubt the talent of Fierceness. He gets in his own way sometimes, but he's obviously very good. I happen to love Mindframe as a horse. Whether or not I think he can win this race, another story. Antiquarian's the one that keeps improving. And yeah, he probably shouldn't have won last time, But he won, and he ran a very good race, and every start he gets better.
He certainly has. But as far as Sovereignty is concerned, I got a chance to catch up with his trainer, Bill Mott, earlier this week as to how one of his stable stars is doing leading up to that Breeders' Cup Classic.
Well, of course, it will be his first time taking on older horses, but seems like he's been handling everything that's been thrown at him thus far.
He has. He's been very good about everything. I mean, he's handled the group that he's run against, and he's been, I think he's come out probably the dominant 3-year-old this year. But when you're taking on the older horses, they're much more experienced, and 3 of the top horses out of the Breeders' Cup Classic from last year are back in there. So you're dealing with experienced, tough, hardened horses, and it's a new and a bigger challenge.
It seems as he's matured, he's been able to kind of put himself into the race a little bit more. We saw him be a little bit more forward in the Travers. Do you think that that's a benefit for him going into this classic?
I think it is. I think early positioning in the race is always important. I mean, you don't want to have to have a horse that's, way out the back because you've got, the entire field to get through or go around or whatever path you have to choose. He's kind of developed that style on his own. I mean, he's developed an earlier pace situation for himself where he can break and, get in the race rather than be completely out of the race.
How have you seen him develop both mentally and physically into the latter half of his 3-year-old season?
Physically, I mean, he's really come on. I mean, he's a massive horse. I mean, he's a lot of horse, a lot of substance to him, big, powerful horse. He eats well and is a good feeling horse, and he's easy to train because he likes to train. Definitely gone the right way in every aspect, I think. I think he's shown more ability as the year has gone on, and he actually looks the part.
No, you're shipping a little bit early for his last work to be at Del Mar.
We are, for no particular reason other than, I just want to get out of there and get out to Del Mar and get the trip over with and allow ourselves a few more days for the travel experience.
And as Maggie mentioned, we did see Sovereignty leave yesterday on the van heading out to the Breeders' Cup for trainer Bill Mott, and will have his final work there at Del Mar, and looking forward to seeing how he settles in.
I mean, he's a horse that is not, fortunately, has had no setbacks, which is obviously a big part of the game. And as Bill's talking about, it's not just, every day it seems like he gets better. Yeah. He's going to be formidable. I think he's going to, I feel as though people are jumping the gun on him a little bit, but he's very, very good. And I think he's up there with the better 3-year-olds that we've seen, going back a few years, the Bernardinis, the Points Givens. And some people may forget, these were very, very, very good horses. This is not an insult to Sovereignty. This is a compliment.
Absolutely, but he does have to take on last year's Breeders' Cup Classic winner in Sierra Leone, who will try to defend his title, and he, like Sovereignty, spending his final preparations up in Saratoga, where he really seems to do very well. Last year, he stayed down at Belmont. This year, Chad kept him and most of his other Breeders' Cup horses up in Saratoga, and he's another one that has been thriving.
Like Sovereignty, he's never run a bad race.
Yep.
And unfortunately for him, while Sovereignty has evolved into a horse to go put himself a little more in the game, he hasn't. No. And Contrary Thinking has been pre-entered his pace setter in there, so that'll ensure that the pace is honest, so it'll give him a chance to make his run. His problem at that point with that horse in there with an honestly run race is not his talent, it's Sovereignty. I think he's as likely, if not more likely, to win as anybody else in the race. But I don't know that he's as likely necessarily to win as Sovereignty. But from a betting perspective, you have to ask yourself, if Sierra Leone is 5 or 6 to 1 and Sovereignty ends up at even money or something, he may be a better gamble to you.
That's fair.
Maybe not to some others, obviously not to a lot of others. To me, I think you could bet him at that price. I'm intrigued by him. I'm intrigued by Forever Young, who I think is extremely good and probably was a little bit more forward than he needed to be last time out. And with the pace setter, I think the pace setter helps him.
I think so too.
And I don't think it hurts anybody. It doesn't allow anybody to have an unfair tactical advantage, but he's going to be well clear. He's not going to negatively affect others. He just may positively affect others. He's probably going to positively affect Sovereignty as well.
That is very true. But as far as Sierra Leone is concerned, also got a chance to catch up with his trainer, Chad Brown. Let's hear what he had to say.
He's training great, so it's shaping up to be a really memorable classic. There's a lot of horses going in there training well that I see, but my horse is doing super. I'm so proud of him. I'm so impressed with his consistency, both in the mornings and afternoon. He's always been right there for us, and he's coming into it as good as he did last year. His last 3 starts have been really, really good. A little rusty in his first start of the year in New Orleans, but the last 3 starts have been right there. His numbers are quick. Based on the way he's training in the morning, it looks like he's set up for another fast number.
Trainer Chad Brown on Sierra Leone, gearing up to try and defend his title. And just as he said, you know, maybe his first race at Fairgrounds not up to his kind of standards so far. But then after that, of course, we saw him win the Whitney, Trouble Trip in the Jockey Club Gold Cup. He's been remarkably consistent.
He ran very well behind Mindframe in the Stephen Foster, where there was a relatively tepid pace that Mindframe could benefit from. And I think that's the point of the pace setter. In other words, it's not hurting somebody, it's just not allowing somebody to necessarily have the kind of pace advantage that makes a slightly inferior horse beat a superior horse.
Cannot wait to see how this Breeders' Cup Classic does play out. And we have some great opportunities for you to go to the Breeders' Cup. Win an all-inclusive VIP trip to the 2026 and 2027 World Championships at Keeneland and Belmont. You can enter at www.breederscup.com. Don't want to miss out. Of course, Keeneland next year, and then one we are all looking forward to in 2027 at the new Belmont Park.
Looking for the new Belmont Park. Looking for the Breeders' Cup finally getting back to New York for the first time in 22 years. Pretty much half of the runnings.
We have prices for you from race 2, Atomic, age 26.50. Pulled the upset. The other Chad Brown horse up for an Oscar, settling for third at 3-5. Tough beat for Wicked Improbable. Moving on to race 3, it's a claiming race, 20,000, a mile on the main track. And this one, a much more wide open field. Right now it is Vieira who is taking the drop in class 4. Rick Dutrow was eased last time out, but going back around the level at which she was claimed when picked up for 30,000 back in May.
I preferred her over the 2 Kakito. They were my main 2 in this race. Thought Echo Eternity, the speed's a little bit dangerous, but the board right now, as you said, wide open.
Certainly is. Tepid 3-1 favorite, Kendrick Carmouche. There she is in the paddock on that drop in class. We'll talk a little bit more about her and the rest of the field as we get ready to kick off the Pick 6 from the Big A after this.
Get into the game with Bond Racing Stable. When you partner with Bond Racing Stable, the Bond team does all the work and you enjoy the experience. As a partner, you can watch morning workouts, come to the paddock for saddling, and cheer your horse down the stretch. Bond Racing Stable offers more than 30 New York-bred weanlings, yearlings, and 2-year-olds in a partnership program that gets you to the winner's circle. Whether on your own or with friends and family, make Bond Racing Stable your racing partners. Go to jamesbondracing.com today.
We're back on America's Day at the races. Horses in the paddock for race 3. There is Bera, who is taking a drop in class for Rick Dutrow, and she does kind of make sense. Unfortunately, as mentioned, Ease last time out was in very good form prior to that.
Yeah, I mean, you always have to ask yourself about horses like that, where the horse was eased. I will say at that point, Rick's barn was not going well. They've really turned it around since that performance, and his prior races are good. But he has a horse they claimed for $30,000 that they did okay with, and now she's running for 20, and she's coming off an eased. So I can understand, especially as the favorite, why some people have real reservations.
Get his picture taken again on the Breeders' Cup.
In case anybody's wondering. Good 2-year-old that did not move on. He did not really run faster as a 3-year-old. He's had ample opportunities to show that he can step forward, and he hasn't. They'll take one last chance before he goes off to stud. I wish him well. Always rooting to see him do well, but I have not liked what he's done as a 3-year-old.
Full Serrano, winner last year, back for more, but Chancer at least got that Curlin win. A little bit wide in the Allen Jerkins, and will take a shot. Let's hear from his trainer.
He's a horse that we had high hopes for coming into the year, and it just took him so long to get going, and the year didn't go quite like we planned. I thought he ran a sneaky good race in the Jerkins. It was a very speed-favoring track, and I think he was 4th in there, and he was coming. He just needed a little bit more real estate. He's got something to prove around 2 turns, but if you get some sort of nuclear pace in front of him in there, again, I could see him getting a piece of it.
He was very game winning the Curlin. Was that kind of a rewarding performance for you and your team?
It was. It sort of got him back on track. It's not what he wants to do, going a mile and 1/8 in some sort of moderate pace slugfest down to the wire. He's a better horse coming off the pace with a strong pace in front of him. So the fact he was out of his comfort zone and grinded out a win, I thought it showed a lot about the horse. I will say this, his best race of his career was probably the Champagne, and we're in that time of year where he's looking his best again. And again, that's a tough race. There's some really hard hitters in there, particularly the older horses in that race. So I'm realistic about his chances, but I do think that he could have a say in just getting a piece of it if he gets a good setup.
Well, we were just touching on off-air who were the main players in this one. Obviously, Nisos with the cutback in distance, but it's been off since late July for Baffert.
It is a bit of a concern. Now, Bob is not one that puts them in spots unless they're doing well. Full Serrano, I think, is very good. The winner of it last year. I think he's extremely dangerous to go back-to-back in this race. I thought goal-oriented. I mean, I've only started to do preliminary work going through the races. Goal-oriented interests me a little bit, cutting back a little bit in distance in there. But
a lot was asked of him early on.
Yeah, nice, but he's continued to run well, so it's not like he's shown any ill effects of that. Often they do, so I didn't think it was impossible. But if Bob Baffert doesn't win it, I think it'll be Full Serrano winning. I've only done a little bit of looking, to be honest.
Meanwhile, Breeders' Cup filly and mare turf and Village Voice, State's debut. It was a win, but now a lot deeper waters.
Yeah, I mean, it's a funny race, and one of the things I haven't had any chance to do is look up the Euros. I'm getting all the other work done, and then I'll start to get to watch some replays and try to look them up. And Racing Post, a great asset to horse players as well, though they're putting stuff behind a paywall now, unfortunately, but I get it. I mean, she got it done here. She made the last move. She was lugging in a bit, finally straightened her out, and finally got her up there. You see her lug in right there, and she'll finally grind out a win in an okay field in the way. This was a decent enough field. Having said that, she better take another step forward. Maybe she will. In this case, at least she sued the distance. I'm going to guess that Euro's there. For me, as far as this race is concerned, I'm going to look to bet against She Feels Pretty at 11 furlongs. Much as I'm a fan of her, she's terrific, I think she's vulnerable at that distance. What? You were looking at me.
I mean, this race might be over already, right, with Mini Hawk?
Mini Hawk is running in the turf.
She's the turf.
She's
okay.
running the turf.
So if not her...
But it might be over if she was running in here.
The turf might be over. So if it's not her, I was going to ask you that. Gazora becomes probably the main player?
Probably. Like I said, I really have not done the work on this race. I mean, I'm just starting to get through them, and I don't want to... I think the biggest mistake people make is they fall in love with horses 2 weeks in advance. I got to tell people, I don't know if you know this, they pay the same amount if you bet with 10 seconds to post or 10 days to post. So my advice is, look at these races just like any other race you're handicapping. Don't have preconceived notions about horses that you love and you have to bet on. I mean, if you want to bet a couple dollars and you have your favorites, that's fine. But if you're seriously trying to make some money in the Breeders' Cup, keep an open mind and
look at the odds.
Yeah, and look at the prices and decide from there. There's no hurry. They're not going to pay you more if you were right a week in advance.
As for Village Voice, wins that States debut. Can she take a step forward? Let's hear again from Chad Brown.
That was a really impressive race to me. I know that it wasn't necessarily it's not a grade 1 race the way, but the fact that she ran against horses that were fit and a lot of them in form, and she was able to come off nearly a year layoff and win and show a good turn of foot in a 3-turn race, I was pretty impressed, and she bounced out of it good. A little bit of a dangerous horse in the Breeders' Cup, I think, because she's so lightly raced. She's very sound and happy right now, and I could see her, if she drew well and got a good trip in the race, being competitive.
Was she a little bit of a surprise in there and thinking then Breeders' Cup for her?
No. If you asked me 2 months ago, I would have said yeah, but by the time I got ready to enter in the race, we had taken Excellent Truth out, and I called the owner, John Stewart, and I said, I know it's disappointing with Excellent Truth coming out, but I'll tell you, I don't think she could beat this one going into the race. This is the fresher one if you really want to try to get to the Breeders' Cup. So by the time I entered her, I was optimistic that she could make it into this field.
So second state start will be the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Turf. As you take a look at what Chad Brown will have lining up. And you look at that list, obviously, I mean, one other horse has done it. Sierra Leone looking to join just Tiz Now as repeat winners of the Classic. It's going to be a tough test, but it should be.
Yeah, it was tough for Tiz Now. By the way, you and I have talked a little off camera. We are not of the opinion this is the greatest Breeders' Cup Classic field ever. We believe it's a great race, but that was one hell of a classic. There were a lot of horses in that race, including Tiz Now and Saki and Albert the Great that could compete in this classic. I think people are in such a hurry to say whatever's happening at this moment, whatever horse is running at this moment is the best ever. Man, there have been some very good Breeders' Cup Classics, and that one with both the Tiz Nows, being Giants Causeway.
Yeah.
I mean, these are serious racehorses.
We mentioned one a few years ago.
Flightline was pretty good.
Flightline, Olympiad, Life is Good.
Life is Good, Rand. Life is Good. I'm not sure that Life is Good didn't run the best race he ever ran in that Breeders' Cup Classic, considering how he dealt with Flightline and still ran pretty well.
and Epicenter were in that race.
Yeah, I mean, let's stop denigrating the past to overemphasize the today.
This year's field, though, is very good and very exciting. Here's race 4. Starts to late pick 5. Non-winners at 3 life. Rodeo stars 14-1.
Yeah. Barnes going well. I didn't really like her, but I haven't liked the last 2 winners.
Daniel's a little tough to endorse.
I agree.
Enigmatic still shockingly favored at 3-1.
Yeah, these are connections that scare me, Sandy Goldfarb, but I don't want any part of this horse. The races in New York are not that good.
Chance to get a piece of it.
I don't disagree. Yeah, I know you picked this horse 3rd. I had her like 5th, but I thought if you're looking for a horse at a big price to get a piece, and your tries are supers, maybe a chance.
Brooklyn Dance getting bet a little bit.
Brooklyn Dance, by the way, is 2 of 3 in the pick. If Brooklyn Dance wins, 2 of 3 will pay off in the pick 3. Don't see that too often.
Wow.
Could be looking at some pretty good pick 5s or carryover.
Best impression is pretty consistent and has a big shot.
I agree with you.
It's a good price, too. 5-1. Stress reliever, 10-1.
I guess if you want to bet on Jamie Ness blindly.
She's cool, drops in class, gets a fast track, blinkers come off.
I think she's an overlay at this price right now for Rudy, just getting back to where she belongs. Only bad race is her last one.
Runway Lights comes off a win that was on turf.
Yeah, her one dirt race left a lot to be desired.
And then Sight to See, 4-1. Former Ken McPeak runner Dutrow claimed.
On paper, she's a major contender, but you and I picked her 3rd. I had her higher than you did, Greg, but you and I have the same reservations. We don't love betting on horses that have been claimed away from Kenny McPeak. He's a very, very difficult trainer to claim successfully from.
And 2 starts since that claim, it has been a downward trend, for Sight to See. As we take a look at the 8. So here's She's Cool. Blinkers on last start. They were on 5 starts ago as well. Those 2 races with the blinkers, 2 of the worst races she's pretty much run in her career.
Yeah, I mean, I'd actually be interested to almost ask Rudy why they put blinkers on last time.
But they're off today.
Unless, Irad had said something about it, but you look at her and you're right. I mean, she's just run much better without blinkers. And I'm not big on blinker on moves. I like blinker off moves. I find them to be much more interesting.
I
Just
agree.
just a personal opinion.
Ruben Silveira will be aboard for Rudy Rodriguez. And the last 2 starts, too, were over muddy, sealed surfaces. The last time on a fast track. Numbers that probably make her the one to beat.
I agree with you. I think she should be favored in here. One thing that concerns me a little bit, though, is the way this track is playing. We've seen, I think there's a possibility you might be better off being inside, and she's unlikely to be inside.
Getting an aggressive warm-up here under Ruben Silveira.
Yeah, and I'm not saying I'm sure that there's a big bias. I think after the last race, you should consider it.
Well, this runner, this was an enigma. Huge reversal of form. Going to Penn National, 67 buyer after being on a downward trend.
Home of the reversal of form. I think what happens at Penn National frequently stays at Penn National, and we've seen a lot of horses that have shown good Penn National form that come here, and frequently they do not reproduce it. They could though, and Sandy Goldfarb's a donor that you get yourself in trouble fighting against. It just seems like her recent form just wasn't very good, and she got better when she went there. She was 3-5 though in a small field.
Way back when, had some big performances here.
Yeah.
For this level, certainly.
She's not my cup of tea. I don't like her. You don't like her. I can understand why some people like her. I'm just against her. I don't want to play her off that race. I want to see her duplicate it. But she could be forward, and that might work in her advantage.
Look, it's not very often you see a horse, no matter how good the race was, coming off a performance at that track, coming here to be the favorite. Right?
Yes, that's strange.
Pick 5 pool up at over $80,000. So this one, 5-2, top choice. Dylan Davis is going to be aboard and was, in the past has been the one on the lead. Sat just off the pace last start, and then about midway through, took command. In terms of other pace, in the Rodeo Star from the rail probably wants to go. Who else do you see there?
I think Rodeo Star can go. We'll see how aggressive Savatgy is. If not, Dylan needs to be aggressive here.
See, you would think that's the game plan. Was on the lead going 7 furlongs, 2 back, Saratoga.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Savatgy's supposed to go from the inside with the rail. I don't know why you wouldn't. Glad to see him back riding. I thought he rode here very well in the winter, and good to see him back. He's an excellent rider. She is a potential thorn in the side. If Enigmatic gets loose from her, I would upgrade her chances, though. Like you, I am not a fan.
And I guess if you're playing the pick 5, is it a chance that the shortest price, is that maybe going to come in race 7 with higher force?
Oh, Yeah, I don't think there's an overwhelming favorite in race 5 or race 6.
Favorite, yeah.
Maybe, yeah. There aren't. This is not a card laden with short prices after today's first race. The second race, there was a 3-5. How that horse was 3-5, I'll never know.
And got beat.
Yes. Ridiculous.
By a stablemate.
Horse that you and I both liked, who would have booked at 3-5 before you bet it.
Yeah. Here's a look at the 10. Sight to see. Rick Dutrow Jr., Michael Dubb, Ricardo Santana Jr., huge drop in class. The problem, not just the recent form the last couple of starts, but more importantly, I guess that more recent form off of who this one was claimed off of, a barn that's incredibly hot right now, Ken McPeak, and hard to move horses up off him.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, right? They claimed this horse in April from Ken McPeak. I don't think the plan when you claim a horse for $40,000 in April is to wait until September to run them. So then it took them almost 5 months to get back to the racetrack. She's run 2 straight stinkers, and now they're dropping her significantly. Maybe the drop will help her. Maybe she'll run her winning race. I'm just not going to bet a horse like this whose form's fallen apart since she was claimed away from Ken McPeak. I wonder if the 6 will be a bit forward with Kendrick. Perhaps Best Impression will look to go a little bit too, right? She's got to be a bit forward.
On a wet track last start.
I think a lot of what happens in this race depends on how aggressive Savatgy is on the rail. That's what I think.
Yeah, with Rodeo Star, who is 24-1 right now from that inside post. There's Best Impression, second at a similar spot last time out. This has been sort of the kind of consistent grinder at the level type.
Yeah. I mean, not spectacular, but usually seems to show up with a reasonably competitive effort. Lost last time dueling speed in that race, finished 5th, and she lost to Foxy Caro's a bit of a price in that race, I think. I'm not sure. Maybe 5-1. But I think that she's dangerous. I think a 6-1 on the 6 is probably, if you're looking for somebody aside from the short prices, as the money is just pouring in on the 10 Sight to See, which is usually an indication they're going to run fairly well. You and I just, you dislike this horse more than I do. I picked the 10 third.
I am completely against. This horse looked beautiful.
Is our 8 dead on the board? Is our 8 a little dead on the board at 7-2, or are we just smart? Well, we're not smart, so that's not possible.
Look right at the 7-2 morning line.
Okay. What price were the 3 and 10 on the morning line?
10 was 3-1.
Okay.
And who?
The 3.
The 3 was 9-2. That's the big underlay.
Well, the 3 was never going to be 9-2. That's a little funny. Yeah, the morning line, looking through at the morning line, it's the only one really seemed to be that in the 7. But tough to make a morning line. And nobody does it better than our morning line maker.
Yep, shout out to David Aragona, the job he does.
Yep. Day in and day out, tough races. And this is a 10-horse field, don't forget. It's tough to get them all right, and he gets most of them right. You and I, like we said, you and I both like the 8. I don't have a problem with the 8. I don't love to bet on short price in these kind of races, but I think this is an honest price. If I thought the track was clearly playing fairly, I would take the price on the 8.
Floats the right way if you like. Back up to 7-2 now on She's Cool. Again, 5 starts ago, blinkers for 1 start, took them off. Blinkers last start, now takes them off again. And those 2 starts with blinkers, 2 of the worst starts of the career. So see if, like she did before, wakes up again, taking them off.
I bet a little on her. 7-2 seems like a fair price.
Set for the late pick 5, 1-turn mile. Chris Griffin to get us started.
Dolce Sera, Runway Lights. Two out. Brooklyn Dance. Sight to See. Inside and at the rail, Daniil is with Rodeo Star, lined up here in the early stages. And now Enigmatic tries to press on with a neck advantage. Stress Reliever is about to join that leader. Now they're 1-2 as they get set to come out of the chute and hook up with the backstretch. And Enigmatic and Dylan Davis in front. At the rail, Daniil is going to hold that position right now as a close-up second with back to third. Stress Reliever on the center of the racetrack. Best Impression moving right along here with Sight to See, who's going to be wide, 23 seconds flat for that opening quarter mile. In 6th is going to be She's Cool, is trying to keep up with Rodeo Star. Then just outside of them, starting to move forward here from the back end of the field, that's going to be Runway Lights. Second to last, Brooklyn Dance, and the trailer, Dolce Sera. 45.79, the posted half-mile time, and the leader, Enigmatic. Enigmatic is trying to shake loose, is up by a length and a half. Stress Reliever is alone in second as Daniil has backed out of it. Best Impression trying to rally on. Sight to See is still wide as they're approaching a quarter mile left to go. She's Cool's trying to run on. Dolce Sera. Pink Silk starts the rally from the back, but hugging the rail. Enigmatic still strong at the top of the stretch. Enigmatic is trying to sprint away from the field, and now they start to move in closer. She's Cool has been under a heavy ride all race, but She's Cool has now thrust to the front. She's Cool has a furlong left to go. Drops down over to the rail. Now in second is Best Impression, chasing Stress Reliever. She's Cool. Best Impression trying to re-rally to the outside, trying to get She's Cool. She's Cool wins it. She's Cool over Best Impression. Then came Stress Reliever and Sight to See in 1:36 and 4.
She's Cool making that eye-catching move around the turn. Had plenty left to hold off the 6 late.
This was a wicked fast pace. I mean, 45.79 for this level of horse and a half. I know the track's playing quickly, but that was some pace. And, you know, I give a lot of credit to Ruben Silvera. I think he understood that despite that pace, he needed to not be last, because this horse does not have any speed.
Yeah.
And he was, as you point out to me, he was riding. I think Chris even mentioned his call, he'd been riding her. But he knew, I got to be within hailing distance in this race to get it done. She circled the field. You could see she was going well top of the stretch. Maybe it turned out moved a little soon. His Best Impression got an excellent ride from Kendrick to get second in here. But this horse was best. I mean, she was just best on the drop down here, this filly.
8, 6, 7, 10, 3-1 over 9-2. There's the winning trainer, Rudy Rodriguez, and yeah, making the right move, taking those shades off again.
He's saying, I won despite Wolf and Serling picking me, which is not an easy thing to do.
It's
you
not.
should get extra, you should get like 70% of the purse for that.
Good for Rudy Rodriguez. See if this one got taken away or not. took a big drop in class.
I think there's 2 lessons from that race, and it's resulting. It's over, and the 3 was a fast pace. But it figured to be the pace protector has a fast pace, so it's not a shock. Is be careful with horses coming from big performances at Penn National, and be careful betting short-priced horses that used to be in Ken McPeak's barn. He's a tough guy to claim from. The numbers claiming from him are not good.
Especially when there was a couple, evidence of a couple of starts off the claim that it wasn't going well.
Yeah.
Giving up a drop in class.
Kenny's horses run, and he's a tough guy to don't see people improving horses from Ken McPeak.
8, 6, 7, 10. Horseshoe Indy. We got a loaded trainers race coming up here.
Crazy, huh?
Bill Mott, Brad Cox, Steve Asmussen with a couple. Cox has a couple as well.
I have a couple things. First of all, I'm betting the one Hard to Blame. This horse has a huge dirt pedigree. I don't know why they ran this horse first time in the turf. I'm going to take a shot with this horse going in the dirt second time. Hard to Blame. Steve Asmussen has 2 first-time starters, the 3 and 8. Now, they're not getting bet. Steve Asmussen with first-time starters going long on the dirt at Horseshoe Indy over the last 5 years. 0 for 12 with only 2 hitting the board, and almost every one of them was a short price.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
Here's the other Cox runner who has experience at a mile, speed and backed up.
That's the one they're betting. That one probably can run a little bit.
Undertaker, Ben Ramos comes in from Keeneland. The 6, Tazzy, who has been pretty much exclusively on turf. The debut race that came off, ran a distant third with a low buyer. And then here's the other Asmussen runner, first-time starter by looking at Lee. 701 from the outside post. Let's check in with Rachel McLaughlin for more.
Standing by here, guys, with Ricky Giannini, Brad Cox's assistant. You have 2 in here, but I thought Pattern Approach looked, as I told you, every bit of a colt there in post parade. You've only had him for a couple days, but tell us what your first thoughts were.
Yeah, he does act like a big kind of baby 2-year-old, so we'll see. He's been here a couple days, got to look around a little bit and see everything. And Valiant, he's had a spin around the track. Showed speed last time, stretching out, so we'll see what happens. Hopefully he breaks good and maybe gets an easy lead and go from there.
Thanks, Ricky.
See what happens. Brad Cox barn, Pattern Approach, the 2 they were talking about, also have the favorite. That's the 4 Valiant making start number 3. John Dooley with the call. Here's the second from Horseshoe Indy.
Well, the Brad Cox 2, you just heard from his assistant Ricky Giannini on America's Day Anthem races. Now Mark. Joe Ramos scored a hat trick here on Wednesday's card, now with 84 wins at the meet. One more Alberto Burgos and Golden Hurricane. Like Mark, both debut for the Hall of Famer Steve Asmussen. Seconds of the day, they're in the gate. They're off. Pattern Approach was slow to go, drifts back to last. Valiant sharply away. It's Valiant going to the lead for Fernando de la Cruz, with Undertaker coming with an early run. And on the outside, the first-time starter Golden Hurricane giving up a lot of ground with 7 furlongs to go. And right there is Hard to Blame toward the inside. At the 6.5, it's Valiant. Has made a very easy early lead here. It's Valiant who dictates terms to Undertaker, staying close with Tazzy in third as they go up the back. Hard to Blame is running in fourth by 4. Then toward the inside is Mark, who's joined on the outside by Golden Hurricane, while Pattern Approach has dropped back to last. The first 2 of 8 furlongs in 24.41 seconds. Making this run toward the half-mile pole, Valiant in charge here of the maiden juvenile mile. It's Valiant who leads. Undertaker with Tazzy in the purple cap. Nearest the inside is Hard to Blame in fourth. They have inside a half-mile to go. It's a brink of 5 more to Mark in turn 3 to Golden Hurricane, and Pattern Approach being asked to pick up from out of last. Half-mile for Valiant. 47.91 seconds. Now at the 2.5. Valiant and Undertaker continues to pursue. Tazzy on the outside and Hard to Blame. Marcus 6 lengths off this leader, Valiant, as they straighten away. Then further back to Pattern Approach, and Golden Hurricane has tailed off 3/4 for Valiant. 1 minute 12.71 seconds. Fernando de la Cruz and the son of Into Mischief. It's Valiant into this final Horseshoe Indianapolis furlong by 3. Leads Tazzy, and Valiant is kicking away now from Tazzy and toward the inside. Hard to Blame. They're close to home. And the third time will be the charm for the $1 million yearling. Valiant. And all the way winner by 5 from Tazzy. Hard to Blame third. Mark back in fourth.
Experience paying off here. Second time in a mile. Third start, as you heard, overall $1 million son of Into Mischief for Brad Cox, the win.
I don't know if he looked like $1 million, but he looked like 3 to 5. My one got bet down from like 7 to 1 to 7 to 2. Ugh. Not a bet
Power of the Andy Sterling
Not a bet this
pick.
was the power of CAWs. Is what it's
4-6, 1-3 finish. It's Valiant. Maiden Breaker, start number 3. Back Belmont at the Big A, and she's cool. Rudy Rodriguez, Ruben Silvera. And the drop down in class and equipment change gets this one back in the winner's circle.
Yep. Fast pace to close into, but made that swooping move. Got the job done. A very good ride by Kendrick on the runner-up to get second. Did everything he could to get her to victory. Just second best in here, but an excellent ride. Winner was best, though.
So I think it is pretty well known now. This filly, she does not like blinkers.
Yes. I really would like to ask Rudy why they put the blinkers on. I'd be curious.
3-1. $8.32. 8-6-7 finish. As we move on to the late pick 4. 6 furlongs over the outer turf. Maiden optional claiming field for 2-year-olds. And betting board will show us a wide open race here. Grumbly Ramhogan. Great name. Start number 2. I know you like this one.
I do like this one. Freddie Barker thought ran very well, busting a fast pace open that fell apart last time.
Dylan Davis back aboard. More on this field when we come back. We'll talk more classic when we return. Todd Pletcher looking for another one, and he'll have plenty of chances, including his former Travers winner and 2-year-old champ Fierceness, and Mindframe, who had beat last year's classic winner in the Stephen Foster.
Drain the Clock will win and win by as much as he wants. Drain the Clock will bound home the winner. Drain the Clock, Jackie's Warrior, Drain the Clock by a head.
$270,000 in the back. $250,000.
The Cup is calling at the Breeders' Cup with Naira Bets. Download the Naira Bets app or sign up at NairaBets.com to get a $25 free bet and $200 deposit match bonus today. Watch live horse racing, get expert picks, and boost your bankroll with lucrative promotions. Play the Breeders' Cup World Championship with Naira Bets. New players sign up now to claim your $25 free bet and $200 deposit match only with Naira Bets.
Quality at his core.
And core beliefs will come on and win it nicely.
By leading sire, Quality Road.
And here is Core Beliefs to take the lead. Core Beliefs on the outside. Here it is, Core Beliefs.
All the best attributes of his sire, a multiple graded stakes winner who's proven at the classic distance with tactical speed and a must-see physical.
It's Core Beliefs who digs his heels in to win the New Orleans Handicap.
Core Beliefs, standing at Walmack.
New York breds. Race them.
Respect them.
Bet them.
Respect them.
Breed them.
Respect them.
650-75.
Buy them.
Respect them.
70-75. Now 700.
Train them for a second career.
Respect them. Join us in respecting thoroughbreds at every stage of life. Learn more at nybreds.com.
Back with you on our Thursday coverage on Fox Sports 2. You're watching America's Day at the Races. As we get set for the start of the Pick 4 coming up Belmont at the Big A. Talk more about the field, about 20 minutes to post, but first let's talk a little Breeders' Cup Classic. And this is the field that is looking to line up. Todd Pletcher will have several chances, not just the couple we mentioned. Locked and Aquarian, a horse I know that, Andy, you're a little bit high on, comes off of probably a race should not have won, but he keeps getting better and better is the main point with him.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's the likely winner of this race, but I don't think he should be ignored. I think he's considered sort of, actually Todd has four runners in here. He might be considered the least likely one. I'm not sure he's not the most likely one. I think he belongs in the conversation. He's really gotten better and better for Todd.
Keisha had a chance to catch up with Pletcher to talk about his classic runners.
You have 4 pointing to the Classic, beginning with Fierceness, who trained up here in Saratoga last year before the Breeders' Cup as well. He seems to thrive up here.
He does. He seems to do very well here, and he's shipped from here to Del Mar twice and ran well both times. So, yeah, we're kind of looking to stay with the same game plan we had last year.
Looking at how the tactics might play out, it seems that his natural early speed could be a real benefit for him in this year's Classic.
It does. I mean, on paper, a lot of the top horses don't have a lot of early speed, so, that could be to his advantage. He's very tractable and could lead if there was no speed, can follow if there is some other speed. So it's nice to have a horse that's versatile enough to employ the tactics you feel like are best for the race. He's been criticized a little bit for maybe not being as consistent as we'd hope, but I thought that race really showed, a different dimension. Had every right to lose right after the start and to kind of recover and rebound and not only win, but win impressively. I thought it was a big race for him.
Let's talk about Mindframe. Unfortunate situation in the Jockey Club Gold Cup. How has he done since that?
Yeah, he's done fine since then. It's very frustrating to be, to have a situation like that happen, and kind of leaves you guessing a little bit as to how much fitness and conditioning you got from that race. Our game plan prior to that was to run in the Jockey Club and then train up to the Classic, and we've stuck to that plan, even though, it wasn't really a true race.
He seems to have an immense amount of talent. What are your thoughts on distance, maybe increasing that, or a little bit of a question for him?
He's always given us confidence that he'll handle 1.25 miles. I think, for him to run as well as he did in the Belmont in his 3rd lifetime start gives us added confidence for that as well. And the way he's always trained, the way he's finished his works and his gallop outs have been, indicate to us that he should be able to get the 1.25 miles.
The horse that did win that Jockey Club Gold Cup was Antiquarian. No discredit to him. He's been very good in his last couple of starts.
He's steadily improving. We always felt like he was the type of the horse that was going to get better as he got older. Yeah, to his credit, he ran a fantastic race in the Jockey Club. Unfortunately, he was a little bit overlooked by, everything else that went on in the race. But at the same time, he was a convincing winner.
And then Locked. What is the thought process on going to the Classic versus the Dirt Mile with him?
We just felt like his running style has kind of become where he wants to settle and make one run. And the mile, we just didn't feel like it was going to give him enough time to put that together. And it can be a little bit of a difficult track to close a lot of ground on. And we just felt like that the race setup for the Classic was a little better. And the Santa Anita handicap, I think his win in there was probably his most impressive race. And that was at 1.25 miles. So just felt like, everything sort of pointed towards the Classic being the right fit for him, even though he's been successful in mile races like the Cigar Mile last year.
Pretty good quartet. Unfortunately, they got to face a horse who won last year and a horse by the name of Sovereignty, who's a beast.
But I will say one thing. Sometimes, when a trainer, and obviously even with Todd Pletcher, see the Derby, they're running some horses that can't win, and sort of owners want to run, and Todd certainly run a share horse in the Derby that he would never have run. Every one of the horses that Todd is running in the Breeders' Cup Classic belongs in the race. They all have exceptionally good races, and on their best, even Locked, as you said, that 1.25 mile race, the Santa Anita handicap. So he's not running horses that don't belong in the race. He's running legitimate Grade 1 horses.
Fierceness, former 2-year-old champ, Travers winner, and looked like it might be it for him. Goes out west, Pacific Classic, slammed out of the gate. Winds up winning the race. Great to have him back in the picture for the Classic.
Well, he caused his own problems coming out of the gate by lugging in. It is. I mean, listen, I don't think there's ever been a sane person that didn't think that Fierceness was the most talented horse in his crop. Fierceness.
Yeah.
We probably said it hundreds of times on this show.
Yeah.
Fierceness's problems are fierceness, that there are times when he just doesn't show up and run well. But he's an enormously talented horse, and he's been an enormously talented horse from day one of his career. So it's never surprising when he runs well, and it's not that surprising sometimes when he doesn't run well. That's the problem with him. But he's a supremely talented racehorse.
Meanwhile, stablemate Mindframe, what a tall ask when he essentially has not run a race since June 28th.
I wouldn't have blamed them if they went to the mile with this horse, all things considered in here. I happen to love Mindframe. He's kind of one of my favorite horses. He really won me over by doing what he did in such a short period of time last year and continuing on with it. And now he's a horse. He's won a Grade 1 at 7 furlongs. He's won one at 1 1/8 miles. He's run very well at 1 1/4 miles in Grade 1s. He's run well at a mile. There's really sort of nothing this guy can't do at a high level. I think he's up against it in this race, But of all of Todd's horses, he's the one that I just have an affinity for the most personally. I wouldn't bet him in here, but I'm a big fan.
He was thrown into the Belmont in the third start of his career.
He ran super.
He did.
And then he ran super his next start in the Haskell in his fourth start. I mean, this is a seriously talented horse who has never run a bad race when he had a rider on his back.
See what he can do, though, when that Jockey Club Gold Cup was over just a few steps in. So essentially, yes, not run a race since June 28th, Stephen Foster. Let's get back to our action today. Race 5, 6 furlongs on the grass.
Okay.
Start of the pick 4. And there's a look at Skip Forward for Pletcher. First-time starter. And a Dre Fong debuter, former Breeders' Cup Sprint winner, who's only had one runner try the turf. That was routing, did not win.
If you're wondering where Dre Fong went, you know now. Japan.
Let's go downstairs.
Yeah, he's only had those horses, those 2 horses run here in America. Obviously has had more horses in Japan, as we'll start right there with number 2, Skip Forward. It's not the biggest vote of confidence that this guy shows up for the $75,000 after being purchased in Japan. I mean, at the end of the day, it probably cost nearly $30,000 to get him over here to America. As far as pedigree goes, and Dre Fong, while he was a very good sprinter on the dirt, he is by Gio Ponti, and the bloodline does suggest that kind of middle distance turf would be ideal for him. And looking at his global stats, that's basically what his progeny want to do. So 6 furlongs here on the turf seems like a fairly logical spot for this guy, but he has been relatively green. And I say that, you know, knowing Todd Pletcher's horses and the fact that they're typically very professional, he has not been so far in the preliminaries here for his debut. And also just looks as though he could benefit from a start just being a little bit more tucked up. But look, he is a big price for connections who do win, they just don't often win turf sprints with their juveniles. Moving on to some other horses, that one is getting back to the grass and probably his first real try at a, well, traditional American grass course, and that's number 4, Helmet of Will, who debuted at Kentucky Downs. And it just seems like the plethora of races were dominated towards the inside there at Kentucky Downs. And furthermore, it's such an odd course that some horses just don't handle it. And he was wide throughout. The top 3 finishers saved ground throughout the running of that race. This is the best looking horse in this field. Hands down, he is the one that I like most here. He has a turf hoof. I think he should run very well in this spot. The only consideration I would say is maybe he wants longer, but look, he showed enough tactical speed at 6.5 and 6 furlongs that I think he should be right there in the mix and hopefully get the job done. As number 7, Escape Hall for George Weaver. He will try the turf for the first time. And you kind of wonder a little bit why George didn't go to the turf immediately. I guess he was working well enough on the main track. But it does feel like George's MO is to go to the turf first time out. But granted, he has a lot of those types, so maybe he wants to separate some of them. But I will say that he looks as though he should handle the turf. He is a smaller built horse, but very well balanced, has been incredibly professional here in the paddock. We'll see if the switch of surfaces does help him. Physically looking at him here in the paddock, it looks as though it should. And same thing can be said for number 9, Fort Griffin. We've seen Charlatan with this freshman crop, and it's really no surprise in hindsight that the bulk of his success with his progeny have been sprinting on the turf, as he is a son of Speightstown. The dam, she was 2 for 11 on the turf. The dam was unraced. I was looking at the wrong horse. One sibling did not try the turf, and the dams actually have to Oxbow. So there's not much pedigree on the bottom side with Fort Griffin, but I will say this, I did see him in his debut. He's far more tucked up than what he was, just stronger overall, and just physically looking at him, he does look as though he has a turf hoof. He has a bit of that flatter back with that more angular hind end to him. I just wish he was a little bit more energetic here in the paddock. Almost looks as though he wants to lay down and take a nap here. So we'll see what happens. I do prefer, Greg, the other Mike Maker. That's number 4 in here, Helmet of Will.
I can relate. I'd like to lay down and take a nap myself.
We're losing Andy. All right, good news for him. You only have one more segment, right? Maybe two. Two Mike Makers. Yeah, as Maggie said, she prefers the 4 in here. Favorites 7-2. This is a tough race to figure out.
No question about it. I know you like 2 ducks in this race who ran against a tough field first time out. I like a Grumbly Run Hogan, who I thought made that move into a quick pace last time for Eddie Barker and ran well. I certainly think DeLalo, the number 5, might be the overlay on the board right now at 7-1. Why is that worth 7-1?
Horse ran very good first time out, sprinting 5.5 at Saratoga against a horse who went to a stake out of that.
I agree.
Adam Rice runner and third place finisher who he finished ahead of came back to win.
Went long, was rained off the turf last time. I think that horse is a little bit dirtied up, right?
Yeah. For the Tom Morley barn, Ricardo Santana Jr., one of my favorites in turf sprints, will be aboard as well. So you're getting, 7-1 right now on the 5. As you take a look at Joel Rosario, he'll be on Fort Griffin, getting on turf for the first time. This is the other Mike Maker. 15-1 on the surface switch.
I love the idea of Speightstown's, but I want to see Charlatan get some turf winners.
Here is 2 ducks. So the winner of that race, the debut, Johnny's Red Storm, came back to win a stake at Kentucky Downs.
Second horse to come back to win, but on the dirt.
Skip forward. First time out, Todd Pletcher.
Not a lot of pedigree, coming from Japan and not taking any money.
Grumbly Rum Hogan took the lead in the stretch in the debut on turf.
I made my case for a move first into a fast pace that collapsed.
Helmet of Will, Mike Maker, debuted on grass.
Maggie had a lot of good things to say about this one as a 1/2 to 3 turf winners.
Dilliello, big player at 7-1.
Tough horse for an announcer if he gets in a stretch duel. Dilliello.
I agree.
Say that 7 times.
Glad I don't have Chris Griffin's job.
A lot of people are, but
be raging on. Blinkers on Rudy Rodriguez.
Last race, the best race this horse has run. It's never a bad thing.
And a bit of a drop, right?
Yep.
Escape hole. Pratt for George Weaver gets on grass for the first time.
Not a lot of pedigree, and I just feel like George would run them on the turf first time if he thought they were turf horses.
Cut back in distance for Bold Love.
Yeah, Chad Summers having a good meet, good year, in fact, but this horse didn't do much running in its turf races.
There's the other Maker getting on grass for the first time. Dan was unraced.
Yeah, not enough pedigree for me to take, but it's Mike Maker, a big price.
And a first-time starter for Rudy Rodriguez on the outside.
Dam did win a couple of turf races, and this is, I believe, her first foal, and Twirling Candy wins at a high percentage with his turf runners, taking no money.
Chance for you today, playing wherever you may be, to get a $15 bonus in your Naira Bets account. Bet at least $75 each on Keeneland and Belmont of the Big A today. Get that $15 bonus whether you win or lose. All you got to do is opt in at NairaBets.com. Take advantage. Back to Grumbly Rum Hogan. And that first start where this one did take the lead, going 6 furlongs in the debut and then backed up to third.
I like to bet on horses. I know this is something that Jonathan agrees with me on, that make moves into fast paces that collapse, and they run the best horse that made the move. And this horse got a good trip coming up the inside, but this was a fast pace that collapsed, and I thought this horse ran very, very well, and far and away the best horse of the horses that were close to the pace. So
it was a Carlos Martin horse that won.
Yes, yes. I think I bet on.
Start number 2 for Grumbly. Coming up with more, let's go back to Maggie.
He might win the award for the funniest/strangest name on this card. Number 3, Grumbly Rum Hogan. And he certainly caught my eye first time out. And yet again here today, a good-looking son of Independence Hall. Has a lot of size to him, which I appreciate. And I like the fact that coming back in here for his second start, he's incredibly professional, just like he was in his debut. And to be fair to him, as the guys were talking about Glorious Boy and Dingy Bar finishing in front of him, they had experience, and he did not. I thought it was a really promising debut, and furthermore, I thought actually warming up a bit better than what he did for that first start. So a lot of reasons, I think, to like Grumbly Rum Hogan. As number 1, 2 ducks, he is your tepid favorite at the moment, and he, I remember, was favored for a long time in the wagering for that first race on August 3rd, and I just prefer Johnny's Red Storm so much. And finally, and like as they were going into the gate, Johnny's Red Storm clicked over to favoritism, and he would prove much, much the best, and also winning the Kentucky Downs Juveniles Turf Sprint with an 82 buyer in his subsequent start. Two Ducks, I wish he didn't have that gap in his form. I totally get being patient with 2-year-olds, but he just doesn't look as fit as I'd like to see him, and he's gotten a really aggressive warm-up, so he had some speed while chasing 3 to 4 wide last time out. Look for him with that inside slot. For Javier Castellano, I would think just to be aggressive with him as he has been warmed up extensively. I just wish he looked fitter. And to Greg, I wasn't his biggest fan first time out, and I still am not his biggest fan second time around here.
Well, right now, the public has made the favorite 7-2 for Carlos Martin.
I think he's overbet at 3-1, personally, but I'm not sure my horse is a great
Almost
price.
Anybody in this field
I'm
is,
not
right?
sure my horse is a great price at 4-1 either.
That was a very tough field he faced in that day. Johnny's Red Storm could be very good, and he made first run on that horse who went gate to wire, and he was 3 wide early in that race.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, I don't. I picked the 1/3. I'm not going to be surprised if he wins. It just feels like a competitive race. 3-1's a little tough to take, but I can see that horse winning.
By the way, real quick, we're going to get back over to Horseshoe Indy. Race 3 is coming up. The thoroughbred horse of the meet. 1-9 favorite, who is 13 for 17 lifetime.
I love this horse.
Cupid's Runaway, really cool story.
My favorite horse running today.
Yeah, I think a lot of people feel that way.
13 for 17 with 1 second. This guy is wins on a wet track. He runs on a dry track. This is a very cool horse. So stick around for that third at Horseshoe Indy. I'm not saying to bet the horse versus 1-9, but these are the kind of neat horses in the game that I just think they don't get enough appreciation. And when you get a chance to show a horse like this on our show, I think they should be appreciated.
No question. Yeah. So, yeah, that's Cupid's Runaway, the 3 in the next race, 1-9 favorite currently. Here's the 5, back staying here in New York. Diliello, who I have chased.
Why is this horse 7-1? That's the thing about the 1. The 1's 5-2, and you could say, well, the 1 only has a 1 start, and that's fair enough. But Diliello's run well enough that 7-1 seems like an overlay.
I think incredibly. This was the 2 best races, or at least co-best race. I thought it was the best race. Was the debut sprinting on the grass.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I don't have a problem with that. It lost to finish second behind Spirit of New York, who's a stakes quality horse. So I have no problem at all. That horse is too big a price. And my horse, I'm not taking 5-2 on my horse. Actually, bet this horse. I'm going to cancel my bet. I'm not taking 5-2 on.
Do you look at that race? So the debut, do you look at that race and chased into this super hot pace and was able to get second? Because next start was a lot closer to the front, didn't run as well.
Yes, it's fair to say that this horse's first race, he benefited from a fast pace. There's no doubt about it. That's a very fair point. And then he was involved in the slower pace race. I still don't think he should be 7-1 in this spot. That's all. I don't love his chances. I think 7-1 is a very fair price on him. That's all. That's it. Nothing brilliant.
I was going to ask you this question. I think that's it. You answered it. The overlay of the field is probably that one.
Yeah. Maggie likes the 4. 4 is a big price. And I don't want to hold the horse's first race in the turf against as pedigree. You know, you see Maker running back on the turf. I don't think you ever want to hold a bad debut at Kentucky Downs where anything can happen.
George Weaver barn, Escape Hall, the 7, getting on grass for the first time after 2 dirt sprints. Lackluster. And there's the horse we're talking about, right-hand side of your screen. Cupid's Runaway, Horseshoe Indy. That race coming up in 3 minutes. Last year's thoroughbred horse of the meet, where he was 7 for 8 at Horseshoe Indy. He's known as Rusty in the barn, trained by Randy Klopp. Randy Klopp said he's a homebred for Reese Ranch. He was told to come take a look at him, and he had crooked legs. He's like, I don't even know if this horse can be able to work. And all of a sudden, 13 for 17 now lifetime.
Makes me think of Lisa's Booby Trap, the horse with the club foot that turned out to be a really good New York bred sprinter.
Loading up for the start of this pick. 4-6 furlongs for these 2-year-olds on the lawn. 3-1 favorite there in the background, the 1. Start number 2 for this Carlos Martin 2-year-old. 2 Ducks with Javier Castellano. Chris Griffin, the call.
Grumbly Rum Hogan. Skip forward. Step back, now goes in. Bold Love. Fort Griffin. Helmet of Will. Helmet of Will. Junior Alvarado, they go in. Here's Diliello. Raging Sea Captain. To the outside. Goes in. All set. And they're off. B Raging On sprints to the front. B Raging On with a half-length advantage, trying to join that leader's Helmet of Will, but it will be a clear leader. B Raging On is in front. Here's Fort Griffin towards the outside, is going to stalk, and at the rail it's Two Ducks, who's a shared third, with to the outside Helmet of Will. Following them, if it's a lineup of three, Bold Love is in that middle group, but at the rail there comes Grumbly Rum Hogan. Also moving forward, there comes Escape Hall. They're stacking up, and Grumbly Rum Hogan just had to steady check. Nowhere to go right now in traffic. 22 seconds flat for the opening quarter mile. Trying to rally on from the back is Diliello. Second to last, skip forward, and the trailer, Raging Sea Captain. They're chasing B Raging On, who's still ahead in front. Fort Griffin with every chance here from second, 3 wide. Moving off the rail was Junior Alvarado, and Helmet of Will wanted that outside lane and is running after the leaders now. B Raging On is trying to close things out. Fort Griffin continues to chase, and here's Helmet of Will. Helmet of Will is now sprinting clear, and Helmet of Will is up by 2, 3 widening lengths. Helmet of Will is approaching a final 16th. This is going to be a dominant victory here. Helmet of Will. Mike Maker picks up another one, and Helmet of Will wins it. Fort Griffin does hold second. Diliello's in a photo with Escape Hall in 1 minute 8.65 seconds.
Mike Maker Barn 1-2, 9-1 over 15-1.
Yeah. Right on my live, the pick 5, if it sweated out, he had both of them. And the 5, who probably should have been second, finishing third. I think they ran 1, 2, 3. Wow, this horse, good call by Maggie. This horse is much the best.
Yeah, 9-1 in the end here. Junior Alvarado, Mike Maker, Paradise Farms.
Big trip for the 3, by the way. Got in significant trouble, and Chris even picked up on it.
Put some serious separation on this field. Back to Horseshoe Indy and the really cool story of Cupid's Runaway. 13 for 17 lifetime, was 7 for 8 last year at Horseshoe Indy, becoming the horse of the meet. And a fan favorite. Randy Klopp trains. 1-9, as you see on the board, has put together 3 in a row at this meet. Let's go to Rachel for more.
We're standing by with jockey Joe Ramos here in the paddock at Horseshoe, Indianapolis. He's on Cupid's Runaway today, and Cupid's Runaway winning the title last year for Horse of the Year, Joe, and then could possibly win it this year, which would be a record here at the track, back-to-back Horse of the Year titles, and you've ridden him most of the time. What are your thoughts today on him in the third?
I mean, for sure he got speed. I think he's just going to break well and put me there. It's just about letting go. He's a nice horse. Randy been doing a hell of a job with him. Like you say, he was the Horse of the Year last year. I wasn't in here. I wish I could have rode him. Yeah. And he's doing an amazing job. I think he just loves what he's doing, and he's on his perfect moment to do what he loves the most, running.
Yeah, he does look like he loves it. I love watching him run, and I'm looking forward to the race today. Tell us, today, this has been just your probably best year. You had an accident and you were gone for a while. You've come back just riding wonderfully. Kentucky Derby this year. You're in the Breeders' Cup as well, a mount with Regald. I'm so excited for you. Tell us what that means for you to come and have such a great year.
Rachel, like I always say, I feel blessed just to be around horses at all. And then those opportunities keep coming, and we keep taking advantage of whatever, happens. And I think God have a plan for everything, and I think that was his plan for me. And when everything happened, I was just like, we get stuff to our mind that put us low and high and stuff. But when you see that all the effort you made, starting paid off, you can tell that this is what I dream about, and this is what I worked for a long time.
Well, good luck today.
Thank you, sweetie.
Here's our post parade. We start with El Rosillo at 14-1.
Yeah, El Rosillo, actually, the last race was probably one of the better races, but at a lower level.
1 to 5. Cupid's Runaway just went by.
Yeah, a little tough to take 1 to 9 shots, but this horse is 13 for 17 lifetime. Pretty remarkable.
8-time winner here at 21 to 1.
Yeah, this one seems like a bit of a stretch in here coming from Belterra.
Off the claim, zapping it.
Yeah, we'll see. The trainer is 0 for 7 off the claim for what it's worth, with only 1 hitting the board.
Third off a short layoff for the 6 cut glass.
I called exacta would be 3-6.
Biggest number on the board here. Spot on Justice.
Yeah, looks a little slow.
And Golden Hornet, 7 to 2.
Has speed. Coming back just 9 days off a race. We'll see.
Yeah, it looks like that one, good chance going to be in front. Cupid's Runaway is going to have to come and get, right? Potentially?
No. Pace projector has the 4, 5, and 6 all ahead of that horse.
Really?
I don't know if that's the case, but that's where the pace projector is, for
Okay.
what it's worth.
Pretty quick fractions for the Golden Hornet in the last couple. Loading up, Cupid's Runaway, last year's thoroughbred horse of the meet, 13 for 17 lifetime. The big favorite here in race 3. Let's go to John Dooley.
Went in okay. Coco merger with El Peje. This field with 53 wins between them, 2 back. Up comes Spot on Justice, Mitchell Murrell, with 49 victories at the meet. Cupid's Runaway 1 to 5 favorite. One more Golden Hornet. Jose Gutierrez claims the 5 pounds. The top apprentice with 41 wins here this season. 1 to 5 favorite Cupid's Runaway, all in line. And they're off. And a fast start for between horses Zappin' It, quickly headed by Cupid's Runaway. Cut Glass and Golden Hornet also vying for the early lead as they scramble for it, just being led now by Golden Hornet on the outside. It's taking a short lead from Cut Glass past the half-mile pole, Joe Ramos, and the favorite 13-time winner. Cupid's Runaway now running in third at the 3.5. Then on the outside is Spot on Justice, with in between horses Zappin' It. The trailers are El Peje and El Rosilo is last. They round the far turn, Golden Hornet and Cut Glass, and they take this confrontation head-to-head now on the edge of the quarter pole. While racing 3 clear from Spot on Justice and Cupid's Runaway, they're a joint third as Golden Hornet and Cut Glass level up together. And then further back to El Vacilo with Zappin' and El Peje. Coming down to the final furlong. It's been Golden Hornet in a cutthroat battle with Cut Glass as Cupid's Runaway is now picking them up past the 16th. Spot on Justice and then El Rosilo. They're close to home. And here is Cupid's Runaway, the Indiana bred sprinter, making it a 6-timer at the meet. Cupid's Runaway has beaten Cut Glass, then Spot on Justice and El Rosilo.
4 in a row, 6 for 8 this year. Cupid's Runaway getting a delicious setup in front of him.
Love this horse. You know, it's one of the fun things about doing a track you don't really cover and seeing horses you don't really know when you come across a horse like this, right? 14 for 18 now, lifetime with 1 second. I mean, at this level to show the kind of consistency, I just think it's really cool.
Really neat story. Rusty does it again. Cupid's Runaway for Randy Klopp. Homebred for Reese Ranch. As Andy mentioned, number 14 and 18 career starts to take the 3rd at Horseshoe Indy.
Now 650. $1,650,000 $650,000. Anybody else want $650,000 bid today? $1,650,000. $1,600,000. Thank you.
Back at our Fox Sports 2 coverage. You're watching America's Day at the Races, brought to you where you can play it all at Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime, even if you're cruising down the river and heading toward the 59th Street Bridge.
Nice shot of the East River. Great way to drive into Manhattan. If you've ever been in the city, drive in, especially at night, but in general, a nice day on the 59th Street Bridge. It's a beautiful view of the city. Helmet of Will. Nice call, Maggie. And well done, Mike Maker runs 1-2. Tours destroyed the field. Congrats to a friend of ours who was alive with 3 horses in the pick 5. They ran 1, 2, 3. He didn't have to sweat it.
And they were paying pretty good. So, yeah didn't really have to sweat too much out at all.
Yep.
Helmet of Will. Back on grass after debuting Kentucky Downs on the turf. Tried dirt next start. Junior Alvarado aboard for the victory. And wins going away.
Junior riding in fine form, to say the least. Junior riding sensationally. I'm done.
Moving to a new barn, by the way. Claim for $75,000 the winner.
By Sandy Goldfarb.
21.84 for the win. That, look at the pick 4, healthy. $6,687. And the pick 5, who your friend was able to hit, $18,199.
Congrats.
Not bad.
I think he got even for the day. Just kidding.
Spendthrift Farm 2-year-old race of the day is next. Here in race 6. Mile and a 16th on the grass. New York breds maiden special weight.
I like Junior to go back-to-back. Starship Ava.
Start number 2 was very far back in that debut.
Yep, like that horse today.
All right, before you leave, some more good things to say about Cupid's Runaway?
I think we've said it all. Cold Exacta, 1760. What a great game. Nice horse.
Trainer says he just gives 100% effort every single time he runs. And now he wins for the 14th time in 18 career starts.
It's a machine.
Well done, Randy Klopp.
Absolutely. Cool horse. Cupid's Runaway. Appreciate him.
All right, so that is it for you. Any parting thoughts before we see you tomorrow?
Enjoy the rest of the card. Some fun races left to go. You and Acacia will have a good time, and I'm off.
All right, we'll see you tomorrow.
I look forward to it.
Yeah, Acacia joining me after this timeout, so stick with us. We're going to look ahead to some weekend action coming up as well, including the Empire Classic over the weekend at 1 1/8, $250,000 purse, and Bank Frenzy. Rudy Rodriguez, LSU Stables. Manny Franco has the Mount 9 for 19 lifetime. Preview his chances when we come back. Stay with us.
McMahon of Saratoga Thoroughbreds, home to 4-time leading New York sire Central Banker, sire of champion New York bred Bank Frenzy.
Bank Frenzy, a hard-fought winner of the Commentator.
And multiple stakes winner Sunday Girl.
Clear winner in the John Hettinger Sunday Girl.
Also standing into mischief's Grade 1 Sun Provocateur. And top young stallion Solomini, sire of Mike Lee Stakes winner Doc Sullivan. At McMahon of Saratoga Thoroughbreds, celebrating over 50 years of equine excellence.
The Cup is calling at the Breeders' Cup with Naira Bets. Download the Naira Bets app or sign up at NairaBets.com to get a $25 free bet and $200 deposit match bonus today. Watch live horse racing, get expert picks, and boost your bankroll with lucrative promotions. Play the Breeders' Cup World Championships with Naira Bets. New players sign up now to claim your $25 free bet and $200 deposit match only with Naira Bets.
As they say, book 'em, Dano. Prince of Monaco in between. It's going to get very close. Book 'em, Dano.
If you can make it here,
Book 'em, Dano in a thriller. Book 'em, Dano wears him down. Book 'em, Dano under a perfect ride from Paco Lopez to win the True North.
you can make it anywhere.
It's Book 'em, Dano in another stellar display, winning the Alfred G. Vanderbilt going away.
Bucaro, proudly standing in New York at Iron Horse Stallions.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
You walk him to the paddocks and back, he gets excited and then he'll want to stand up and act up. But like in the stall, he's really nice. So Lou Print, usually the better bred babies go to Florida, but for whatever reason, shipping and whatever, he got left up here. And I kept telling the guys down there, I go back and forth like, listen, we have one up there that I think he's better than the ones we have here. And they're like, there's no way, these are killer colts. And they were right. There was great horses, but I go, I'm telling you, I've trained your horses. You haven't trained this one. He's better, I think.
Lou Print comes back to win it. It's Lou Print.
I think he is the best horse I've ever trained.
We look forward to it Friday, Saturday night, 12 championship races, over $7 million in purses, and we will have live coverage on Friday and Saturday on Fox Sports 2. And the 2-year-old group, that 1 mile pace, Breeders' Crown Flyer, Bo Jangles, 11 for 11 lifetime. One of several headliners. We'll see that over the 2 days of action. With me on the desk, good to see you back, Acacia Clement.
Good to be back. I got to go to the Breeders' Crown last year when it was at Meadowlands. A little bit closer, of course, than one by Mohawk, but really fun, great celebratory atmosphere as well. And, of course, looking forward to seeing if Lou Print can add another to his already illustrious resume.
Yeah, so we hope you join us for that coverage on Fox Sports 2. Meanwhile, this weekend, Belmont of the Big A, Empire Classic, we teased going to break. And here's a look at the terrific lineup we have on Saturday for these New York Reds. Mile and an eighth in this $250,000 classic where Bank Frenzy will be back in action. Beat last time out on a muddy track, cutting back in distance to the John Morrissey, but the last time that he went a mile and an eighth, he looked very good.
He did. He wants to go a little bit longer, I think, than that 7 furlong John Morrissey, which was a combination of some horses that were going longer and the more tried and true sprinter types, and they came together to have an incredibly deep and contentious field. Not to mention, this is the type of horse that is better when he's drawn to the outside. It's a great draw from him. Being drawn a little bit more off the rail, he was drawn the rail last time out, and he's not the quickest immediately out of the gate. He wears that extension blinker covering his right eye. He just got totally sandwiched down on the inside. We did see him kind of be up against it pace-wise as well. Doc Sullivan just had a much better trip, and also a horse that's turned into, it's always been a good one, but has really turned into a very talented horse. So I think Bank Frenzy is going to get a better trip, kind of more to what he does prefer going this 2 turns.
And he's the proven veteran here. I'm really excited to see Iron Dome, though. 3-year-old. Now he's tackling older company in this spot, and he was very good this summer at Saratoga.
He was. He obviously has taken a little bit of time to come to hand Iron Dome, but he's bred to be a good one. He and Quick to Accuse in this race are actually half brothers, both of them younger brothers to the venerable Mr. Buff, who won on a lot of these big New York Red days and loved going the 2-turn mile and an eighth. Iron Dome won the Albany, but he is the new shooter, being the 3-year-old, and he will have to face some very tough New York Red veterans.
7-5 favorite, though. Morning line, Ricardo Santana Jr., Ford, Steve Asmus, and you could be part of the action this weekend at Equestrius. Reservations available now. Enjoy a premium buffet with sweeping views of the track for 9 New York Red Stakes races. Reserve now at NYRA.com and be part of it this weekend. And you can come say hi to us as well.
Be close by.
All right, back to our Thursday action and our Spendthrift Farm 2-year-old race of the day. Considerate City, Jimmy Ferraro Barn, Jose Lezcano, and they will take blinkers off for start number 3 today with the 9. Let's go downstairs to Maggie.
We'll check in with some first-time starters here on my end, Greg, beginning with number 5, that is Coach of the Year. Now, they paid $200,000 for this daughter of freshman sire Maxfield after working, relatively speaking, a pedestrian 10-3 at the OBS March sale. But to be fair, she wasn't really asked much for that 10-3. The rider virtually statuesque, and that's something you don't often see, at least in the past, from those workout riders there at the sales. But you could tell that she looked like a turf horse, or I should say moved like a turf horse, and definitely wanted all the ground she could cover. As debuting here at this mile and a 16th on the grass makes a lot of sense to me. And also you see why they paid that much for her here in the paddock, because she is beautifully put together, elegant, but yet has some size and some depth to her, very athletic looking, and ultimately well prepared, well muscled and fit, professional too. Do like this Georgia George Weaver trainee here in this spot. Now, Chad Brown will send out a homebred for Head of Plains in number 7, Jetties, whom, despite not breeding that many mares, and they're predominantly Sol Cuman's horses, mares, I should say, Slumber has done well as a sire, especially with these turf horses. Now, there isn't much pedigree on the bottom side, and as she is a first foal, she's a bit on the smaller side when it comes to her stature. I don't mind the way she's put together, though. She's actually fairly well balanced and athletic looking, but also just appearing as though she might need a start here overall, just to tuck up and maybe get a little bit more clued in. Now I'm going to take a look here at a bomb. Number 3, Banco di Sicilia for Chris Engelhart. I know she's a central banker. She's a no running in her dirt sprints, but first time out, the day she was meant to debut was August 6th up at Saratoga, in which that was a turf sprint. Unfortunately, she dropped jockey Lane Luzzy in the post parade, and she never got back to the turf. This is a turf horse. She also has the pedigree on the bottom side to back that up, as she is a full sister to stakes winner Nico's Dream. There's also been 3 others to win on the turf to try it, and she has a massive turf hoof. She is far more settled here in the paddock than what she has been in years past, and honestly, I remember her Damn Adriatic Dream, who was a runner for Dave Donk, and she looks so much like her, Greg. So hopefully this surface change might wake this filly up a bit. I know there's not much to go on paper, though.
Yeah, but you notice, as you brought up, that Dam produced Nico's Dream, who's a stakes winner on the grass. Makes you think at a huge price here, why not take a swing in a wide open race?
Yeah, absolutely. Nico's Dream has by far been the best of that family, but 4 out of the 6 winning foals, 3 of them were more turf horses, and I'm with Maggie. I've been waiting to see this horse get onto the turf.
This one pretty interesting to debut as well. George Weaver barn and the Dam produced General Ken. It was a stakes winner and first out winner, by the way. And here's a look at what George Weaver has heading into championship weekend, including Cy-Fair, who will take on the boys in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint. Let's hear from him.
She was impressive on debut. A little disappointed to finish second in the was a Bolton Landing, but she ran a really, really nice race over at Woodbine and showed how explosive she can be. I think the 5/8 mile is going to fit her very well out there too.
What's the thought process with her and going to the Breeders' Cup and taking on the boys?
As soon as she won her debut, I was like, if she can do that, she'll be live in that race out there. Sure, her numbers say that she's live and she can win it. I wish they had a filly version of it. They probably could justify that if they wanted to, but they don't, so we'll run against the boys. We ran against the boys at Woodbine. It wasn't a problem, and I'm not worried about that.
She looked okay romping against the boys last time out, no question, back on October 5th. So Cy-Fair, 2 wins and a neck defeat in that Bolton Landing. Headed to tackle the boys in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint.
And I thought that she was impressive in the Algonquin last time at Woodbine, not just because she took on the boys, but because she was further back than she had been typically, able to show a little bit of a new dimension and come from off the pace, and it was with a pretty explosive turn of foot. She's very talented and really interesting going into that race.
Back to what we have here. George Weaver with a very interesting first-time starter. We'll have more on Coach of the Year, the 5. We start with Girappo, Ray Handel, second-time starter.
It was a live race that she does come out of first time out. She hopped up a little bit at the start and then just never really got into the race from then on.
Amicus Curiae, huge price next to her. We're told still in the paddock, so we'll get back to that one. And here's the pedigree play Maggie touched on, huge number, Banco di Sicilia.
And as she was that late scratch, dropping her rider in her intended first start, looks like the most settled she has been thus far. That's been a challenge for her all along as well.
Slowly coming up onto the track. Eddie Barker's Into the Wilderness, start number 2, will stretch out.
I thought this one was a little bit interesting first time out. I think that she should like a little bit more ground. Second time, she just got run off her feet on debut.
Just heard from George Weaver, and here's his first-time starter with pedigree, Coach of the Year.
And has had the opportunity to work on the turf up at Saratoga. I thought in her 2-year-old Salisbury's very turfy action, a lot of knee action to her.
Tom Morley Barn Morning Prayer getting on turf for the first time.
Not a ton of turf pedigree really to sink your teeth into. She did sell at the Timonium 2-year-old sale and was a little bit green first time out as well.
Jetty's first timer Chad Brown went by.
By Slumber, who, as Maggie mentioned, has certainly gotten plenty of runners.
Considerate City, start number 3, blinkers off.
Has finished second in both of her starts at some generous prices.
Jorge Abreu, third time out.
Got shuffled back a few times early. I think her neighbor was kind of keen setting her off.
And that was Rosalisa, the 10. The 11, Nashika, Mike Maker, and the 12, Starship Ava.
Nashika has speed and Starship Ava has no speed, at least from what we saw from her first time out.
And interesting, also eligible, the draws in 3 sprints on turf. Raynham Hall stretching out.
Yeah, finished second in her last 2 starts when sprinting. This was Kendra Carmouche's preferred mount, as he will stay here, and we will see Santana pick up the ride on the 5 coach at the
Any positives for the 2 here, this 38-1 shot?
Well, she was antsy in the gate last time out. She was off slow, just never really getting involved. So let's see if she breaks better today.
Let's get back to the 9, Considerate City. Jimmy Ferraro, Jose Lezcano, and 2 starts, both going 1 mile and 16th on the grass, 2 runner-up finishes. Let's look at the most recent effort out of the gate.
Yeah, and she is the 10 in here, and the number 5, Starship Ava, as mentioned, just has absolutely no speed. I thought that as far as Considerate City was concerned, Manny Franco was aboard this day with her post. He did an excellent job, able to drop her in mid-pack and get her some positioning. A little bit of a stumble. I don't think it really impacted her that much, to be completely honest, but I thought he did a really good job getting her into position. No speed from Starship Ava. She's going to run on the outside in the red cap. Considerate City will kind of just keep on grinding there to be second in that spot. Blinkers coming off. We'll see if that does help her to maybe be a little bit more interested in finishing, seeing her competition. Thought she ran very well.
Start number 3, equipment change coming up, and she currently is the 3-1 favorite right now. Let's go back down to Maggie.
I have no problems with Considerate City. I was such a big fan of her brother, Sanctuary City, so hoping that she gets the job done here. But she's looked much the same in all 3 of her outings thus far. But talking about a horse that I know Acacia had mentioned, she's interested in number 4, Into the Wilderness, stretching out in distance. I agree. She's tall, she's leggy. She's not the most athletic, so we'll see how much quality there is in there ultimately. But I do think that a stretch out is going to be a welcomed feature for this filly in her second start. She didn't have much speed in that first race, made a decent wide rally, but the speed did come back to her in that affair. But then again, showing enough ability that I think she could be effective with this stretch out and distance at a massive price. Don't love her, but again, one that I thought there was some upside. Towards the outside, number 11, Nashika, as Mike Maker looks for his 3rd winner on the card, and she is one that debuted early on back in June, going 6 furlongs, but I had written that she probably wants longer, so she comes right back here September 11th and runs longer, setting the pace, comes up a bit tired. She just looked a little bit weak to me that day. Like, she just needed to fill out a bit more. And luckily, having a race under her belt has done the trick. She is stronger, especially through her midsection, across her hindquarters. And that's just something that I like to see. You like to see that forward development with these horses physically as they go along. So not the best post for a horse that has some speed, but again, she is really settled. So I don't think she has to have the lead to be effective. As number 12, Starship Ava, she was kind of your typical Michelle Nevin first-time starter, bit bewildered in the prelims, not that fit, but showed an element of ability in that debut, especially the second half of it, when she launched this really wide bid around the turn while green and still ran on behind Considerate City in here. She isn't that noticeably more tucked up, but she's far more clued in. So we'll see what kind of trip she's able to pull from that far outside post, taking money at 5-1. I would think she'll be a bit handier here second time around, not leaving herself as much to do this time around. Greg?
See if that's the case, and if she could be any closer to the action off that debut when she was last for a long time.
Yeah, she just showed no speed there. So I'm sure with some more focus and racing experience under her belt, she could potentially move forward. I remember Andy and I discussing her first time out because she has a massive pedigree, particularly for turf and being a New York bred. And she sold for just $10,000. Out of good year for Roses, who was graded stakes quality type of horse and was very talented. And so you never really know what the vetting is, what's going on behind the scenes, but clearly she did show some ability, as Maggie mentioned, running on, and we'll see if there is some natural forward progression with her second start.
Little surprising with the barn, the pedigree, that this one's not taking at least just a little bit more money, Coach of the Year.
It is a bit surprising, but I think we have seen the majority of George Weaver's success, particularly with 2-year-olds and with turf horses in sprint division, so maybe that's it. But this one, I think, certainly wants to go long. It's funny, when I did that interview with him in Saratoga, we were getting stall shots of some of the Breeders' Cup horses and Dorth Vader and Sci-Fair, and Coach of the Year's stall was kind of right in the middle there, and she kept poking her head out like, what about me? What about me? And I said, well, not yet, Mama. You haven't even run yet. But really inquisitive filly, which was kind of fun to see them in their natural habitat. But she had a big pedigree, like that she's had the chance to work on the turf, and thought that she was intriguing in this spot for a barn that has been very dangerous with first-time starters.
Yeah, again, mom produced General Ken, who was a stakes winner, one first time out routing on the turf at 1 mile and 70 yards. Second dam, grade 2 winner on dirt. And even though she was 0 for 5 on turf, ran a 91 and 92 buyer on the grass. So had ability on the turf as well. But 8-1, nevertheless, on Coach of the Year, the 5 for the debut. His 13 gets in off the also eligible list. So far, 3 sprints on the lawn for Rudy Rodriguez.
And on the bottom side, the pedigree does lean more sprint altogether, but she is one that's stretching out in distance. And last time out, she was kind of chasing, but 2 back, she was forward. And I do wonder, with Kendra Carmouche staying aboard, and given the fact that she is a pretty high energy type, with the stretch out, if we might see him try to be aggressive with her, especially from that outside post.
This is surprising. Jetties, the 7, has become the favorite despite not a whole lot of pedigree.
She is by Slumber, and she is trained by Chad Brown, so we'll see if she can live up to some of that attention.
6-1 morning line. She's the, is it 2-1? Yeah.
Yeah.
2-1 favorite here with Pratt aboard. Here's the 6, our Spendthrift Farm 2-year-old race of the day. Let's go to Chris Griffin.
Starship Ava. Raynham Hall, last to load to the outside. Kendra Carmouche, Raynham Hall. Goes in. All set. And they're off. Into the wilderness, has speed towards the inside. Here comes Amicus Curiae, is at the rail. Also from the outside, here comes Raynham Hall, Starship Ava, trying to be into that early mix. Now we'll take back. And emerging with the lead, Banco di Sicilia. Banco di Sicilia now with a neck advantage. Rose Lisa, Javier Castellano, they apply the pressure here towards the outside from second. Amicus Curiae broke on top, but is now back to third. Raynham Hall to the outside is in fourth, then comes Into the Wilderness, who's in fifth. Following them, Morning Prayer is going to be in sixth. Starship Ava's wide in seventh. At the rail, there comes Haropo, is going to be in the purple cap, is joined in tandem by Neshika towards the back end of the field. It's a lineup of 3. There's Coach of the Year with Jetties and Considerate City. They work to the backstretch, 23.46 for the opening quarter mile. Banco di Sicilia, Lane Luzzy trying to take them all the way, has a half length in front of Rose Lisa. At the inside, Amicus Curiae, Jamie Rodriguez, they're on the move, going to save some ground through a 49.77 half-mile time. Then up on the outside, Raynham Hall, patiently ridden here from fourth. And between horses comes Morning Prayer. Dylan Davis, no move yet. Back there in sixth, waiting for room. Into the Wilderness, nowhere to go as well. Trying to move forward towards the outside, Starship Ava, Neshika. They turn up the pressure here on the big long shot in Banco di Sicilia. Rose Lisa and Raynham Hall just waiting for the cue, is ready to pounce, is ranging up on the outside, 3 wide. At the rail, Amicus Curiae, nowhere to go. The leader is Raynham Hall, who now kicks on, is up by a quick length, call it 2. Raynham Hall is trying to sprint away and got away early. Here's Morning Prayer, Starship Ava. They travel as a pair. They're shoulder to shoulder and now bearing down on Raynham Hall. Raynham Hall trying to hold them off. Here comes Neshika, Joel Rosario. They're on the move. And here comes Neshika trying to storm on by. Morning Prayer's in there too, but give it to Neshika up in time. Neshika wins it there. Mike Maker picks up another one. There's Morning Prayer to the inside in the photo with Starship Ava and Raynham Hall in 1 minute 45.74 seconds.
Mike Makerbarn just ran 1-2 in the turf sprint we just saw, race 5. Now he gets the win with this third-time starter, Neshika Joel Rosario.
Yeah, amazing. Third win today for the Mike Makerbarn, and looked like this one was just taking a little bit of time to get going. The 13, Raynham Hall, who was caught a bit wide early, was able to drop in at some point. She hit the front and looked like she might win, and then these 3 horses came flying late. Starship Ava, as well as Morning Prayer, who was getting onto the turf for the first time, both right there, but both run down by Neshika in the final jumps.
10-1. Mike Makerbarn as we get back to Shelbyville, Indiana, 4th from Horseshoe Indy, mile and 70 yards in this state-bred $20,000 claiming race, non-winners of 2 life. The condition, let's go to Rachel.
We have got so many horses dropping down in this race, you guys. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out for sure. But I'm going to start here with what I got from Marcelina Pedroza. Now, if you look at 2 races back, she bumped pretty hard and then clipped heels with another horse. And Marcelino said, I'd ridden her before. She was already a little bit nervous when she was on the inside, but he said that just really solidified it for her. He said last time she ran a little bit scared, but he's hoping that the class relief will help, obviously, and that she kind of is on the outside of the horses today. He's just going to try to keep her calm in this race. So Tap Bonnet, the 6 for Tony Granitz. Marcelino Pedroza feeling confident on that class drop. And then I did get to talk to Tony Granite, so I talked to his jockey, and this is a funny angle that I've noticed. When you're at a track for as long as I've been with the same guys over and over, you start noticing little things. Tony Granitz, when he has 2 horses in, I always bet what I call the other Tony Granitz horse. Everyone's looking at one, and more often than not, a long shot ends up coming in, and it's Tony's other horse that gets overlooked. The 2, Ace of Cats, could potentially be that horse today at a price. He hopes that she gets an easy lead and that the 4 doesn't push her. He likes the turf to dirt angle, and a nice little insight, he took the tongue tie off today and, you know, dropping her down. So a lot of little changes here for Ace of Cat that might be interesting from the Tony Granitz barn. So those are my thoughts in this race. A lot of class dropping here from allowance into claiming for the first time, too, for some of these. So going to be an interesting one, the 4th here at Horseshoe Indy.
Well, we had that other horse angle play out earlier on the card here at Belmont. Chad Brown's Atomic Age for the big upset when Up for an Oscar was an odds-on favorite.
Yeah. See
if it happens here with the 2 Ace of Cats.
Very well could. 9-1 on that one. Meanwhile, you're getting 4-5 on the number 6 in Tap Bonnet. I know that this is a horse who has been running okay against tougher, but as Rachel said, you've got several that are dropping in class that have license to potentially improve, and I just feel like that's a very short price to take on anybody in this field.
So you're against?
Not necessarily against. I just feel like it's too short of a price to take. I thought Red Hot Justice to the outside a little bit interesting. Lotta Latte has been relatively consistent as well. They're kind of generous prices, also taking a drop in class while your favorite is a very short price.
4th race starts at pick 5. John Dooley with the call.
6th timer at the meet. Alberto Burgos with War Trinkets. She went in well. Tap Bonnet like Ace of Cats, one of the Tony Granitz 2. Fearless Cowgirl, Abel Cedillo. For Staten Island, New York native Karen Whittick. Here's Fearless Cowgirl. At 1 mile and 70 yards, just a couple of them back. Jose Gutierrez with Lotta Latte. Like Red Hot Justice, both for Ray Paquette. And coming up, the 5-year-old Red Hot Justice. Fernando de la Cruz won our 2nd on America's Day at the Races with Valiant. And they're off. And there's Shipshawana, who strides away. Fearless Cowgirl with an early bid, and right there is Tap Bonnet with these leaders. Moving up between horses, Tap Bonnet, Shipshawana in the black cap, and on the outside, Fearless Cowgirl as they enter the first turn. Ace of Cats is just off these leaders' heels. Then comes Lotto Latte, who's up close running in 5th, now at the 6.5. Red Hot Justice over to a ground saving position there for the meet leader Fernando Veta Cruz, and beaten for pace while settled by Alberto Burgos, or Trinkets trails. The opening quarter, 24.07 seconds as these fillies and mare go up the back. And here's Tap Bonnet, who's come away in front for Marcelino Pedroza Jr., but it's a short lead for Tap Bonnet. Ship Shawana right there toward the inside now for Joe Ramos. They're vying for the lead, making this run toward the half-mile pole. Fearless Cowgirl tracking them from 3rd for Abel Cedillo. Then to the inside is Ace of Cats running in 4th. Ray Paquette's 2. Lotto Latte in advance of Red Hot Justice, who's being asked to pick up now, and War Trinkets remains the trailer. Half-mile, a few ticks over 49. They enter the far turn. Ship Shawana and Tap Bonnet's been right there with Ship Shawana, and they continue to exchange the front, making their way toward the quarter pole, while 2 clear from Ace of Cats, who's gained 3rd, from Fearless Cowgirl, who's dropped back, and on the outside, here's Lotto Latte, who's now brewing up a run, and then War Trinkets and Red Hot Justice has dropped back to last. They straighten away, 3/4, 113.67 seconds, and it's been a battle between Tap Bonnet and Ship Shawana. Just has the advantage, 1 furlong to go. Ship Shawana kept to the task. And right there's Tap Bonnet, who's in for the fight. Coming past the 16th, it's down to them. Lotto Latte's 3rd, Ace of Cats is 4th. It's Tap Bonnet outside of Ship Shawana, who digs her heels in. Ship Shawana on the wire. From Tap Bonnet and then Lotto Latte, a gap away to Ace of Cats with War Trinkets, Fearless Cowgirl, and Red Hot Justice trailed them home.
They could have gone around again. I don't think Tap Bonnet wanted to go by.
No, I don't think so. As Ship Shawana had the inside position, and she really dug in. They put a lot of separation on the rest of the field, but she was not letting the favorite pass, and nor was the favorite keen to do so. Ship Shawana holding off a Tap Bonnet.
6-1, beating a short-priced favorite here. 1 for 17 coming into this race. Robert Gorenbarn, Joe Ramos, back to New York. Nashika, Mike Maker, Joel Rosario. Maker back-to-back wins on the card. 10-1 here. Prices when we come back.
How magnificent was Full Count Felicia. Never in doubt.
Coming down to the finish. First World War. Fort Washington on the outside. They're coming down to the line, and Goliad does it.
Warfront, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back with you on our Thursday coverage on Fox Sports 2. You're watching America's Day at the Races. Race 6 in the books, our Spendthrift Farm 2-year-old race of the day, and it goes to trainer Mike Maker. He goes back-to-back on the card. Joel Rosario aboard for this win on Nashika.
What a day it's been for the Mike Maker barn, as this one just kept grinding late in the stretch, was able to come from off of it a little bit. It took a little bit of time to get going, was kind of boxed in, and once Joelle was able to tip her out, that's when she was really able to kick on and run down those horses that got the jump on her just in the nick of the time. Tough beat for the 6 Morning Prayer, who certainly took a huge step forward getting onto the turf.
Yeah, stretching out, getting on the grass, but winds up second at a price here. So Nashika 10-1 as Mike Maker continues to be hot at this meet. 11, 6, 12, 10-1 over 18-1, over 4-1 as we move on to race 7 to the main track here. New York Bred's entry-level allowance, mile and an eighth, and higher force, I would think, would become favored by post time.
I would think so. I know that Grace and Grit has currently the yellow highlight on her, but she's run okay on dirt. She's a better turf horse. Higher force has a tactical advantage, I would think, being able to press the pace setter last time, set the pace 2 starts back, and it's kind of shown she can handle the 2-turn distance and certainly handles the dirt.
We'll take a timeout. We'll be back. We'll talk about one switching surfaces in this field too for this guy, Miguel Clement, who is going to be a busy man on championship weekend. We'll talk about his chances, and I'll put Acacia on the spot when we come back.
A dynasty in motion, reshaping the sport's greatest tradition, channeling the legends of his line and surpassing them. 4 of the last 6 Derby winners carry his genes. A Golden Sun, a Horse of the Year. Another chapter written beneath those iconic spires. Derby dreams fulfilled for the titans of our industry. From authentic to sovereignty, a legacy both real and supreme. Into mischief.
Why wait for fortune to be revealed when you can make your own move? Because no one ever talks about the time they played it safe. So go ahead, press your luck, tempt fate, and claim your destiny. Because once in a lifetime can happen every night. Welcome to a world that revolves around you. Your rules, your world. Resorts World.
The world's premier breeding stock event, the November sale at Fasig-Tipton. A head-turning sprinter, Positano Sunset grabbed the spotlight with a powerful stretch drive to win the Grade 1 Madison over a field consisting entirely of black-type winners, while earning a 100 Beyer speed figure.
Positano Sunset, the best turned out.
In September, a stakes record-setting victory in the Open Mind Stakes at Churchill drove her earnings to over $1 million. A winner from ages 2 to 5, Positano Sunset has notched multiple stakes wins for trainer Ian Wilkes and owners 6 Column Stables, Randall Block, John Seiler, and David Hall. Positano Sunset is a daughter of Golden Sense, the sire of Kentucky Derby winner Mystic Dan, out of a half-sister to Grade 3 winner Island Town. Grade 1 winner Positano Sunset, selling this November with Hill and Dale at Alapa Agent.
Back with you on our Thursday coverage here on Fox Sports 2. You can win an all-expenses-paid trip to the 2026 and 27 Breeders' Cup World Championships. Get involved. BreedersCup.com. That's where you enter. Thank you. Miguel Clement, this is what he has lined up for championship weekend. Botas, Intricate Spirit, Tawny Port, Beleza. He was asked about these runners by someone sitting right next to me. Let's hear it.
Miguel, let's start with 2-year-olds having won their win and your in races. Intricate Spirit walking behind us, going on to the juvenile turf sprint. What's he been showing you?
A tremendous amount of speed, so we're looking forward to it. Don't think the 5 furlong distance cutback would be an issue for him because he has an abundance of speed. So just break well and let him roll.
Last time Joel Rosario opted to kind of take him a little bit behind the speed. Was that encouraging to see that he could rate a little bit if needed?
Yeah, correct. They'll probably be rolling early on, but he could be forward or just ride off them. It's up to Joel, but I'm looking forward to it.
He's a high-energy horse. How has he been training?
Full of energy per usual. He'll have one work here, and then he'll ship over there early, and probably won't do any speed work over there.
Bottas winning the Pilgrim. He's 2 for 2. Also, another one that showed a little bit of a new dimension last time.
He's lightly raced. He's undefeated. He's very talented. He's got a great turn of foot. We're looking forward to him going for one more spin.
He is a closing type of horse, was able to circle the field first time, come between horses last time. What's kind of the ideal trip for him?
Wherever Manny Franco would be comfortable, to be honest. He's got a great turn of foot. He came from last on his debut. He's in between horses. He showed grit and determination in his last race. I'm just very excited to be part of the ride with Dom and Stables.
What about him? How has he been training? I know he's worked with some older horses in the barn as well.
The plan is to work him again with an older horse. When they're that good at the age of 2, it's okay to pair them up with older, experienced, grade 6 horses because it makes them work a bit harder, and they're talented enough to do so.
Couple of very interesting 2-year-olds. We saw Bottas come off that win, that debut at Saratoga, win a stakes race in the Pilgrim. Who do you feel is this barn's best chance to win championship weekend?
Probably one of the 2-year-olds. I think in general we've seen that these 2-year-old turf races are the most achievable Breeders' Cup races. Both Intricate Spirit and Bottas have been precocious, have done everything that's been asked of them as of yet. As far as the older horses, they're going to have to face some incredibly tough European contingents, which is often the case in those turf races. And if you want to beat the European turf horses, it's usually with 2-year-olds that you might be able to do it, and in particular with sprinters. So hoping that Friday is a successful day.
All right, see what happens with Bottas. Invincible Spirit is for the 7th race coming up. Back check for Miguel. First time on dirt coming up.
Yeah, and has a pedigree for it. She is the half-sister to Grade 1 Frisette winner Iron Orchard, and I know the barn has been kind of watching that filly as she broke her maiden on dirt first time out, then won on dirt in a New York bred stake, and then of course went on to win a Grade 1 going a mile on the main track. But Miguel has actually said that she's trained far better with the blinkers on when moving over to the dirt as well. So that was a thought process. Give her a chance because of that pedigree. She certainly has value as a broodmare because of who she's related to.
5-1 right now. Let's go to Maggie.
Yeah, obviously being that half-sister to Iron Orchard, won the Frisette here. But I see why Miguel has only run her on the turf before. You have to explore this option, which I totally agree with. But on the surface of things, she totally has a turf hoof. I mean, she looks way more turf meant when you look at her physically. I will say this, though, in her favor today, whereas in her last 2 efforts when I have seen her, she was just really nervous. So today she's been accompanied by the pony, and she's actually a lot more calm and relaxed, and honestly looks stronger, too, than what I've seen from her in those previous efforts. So I think those are good signs. She has a pedigree to suggest that this surface change will not be a problem. I just wish she looked more convincing from a physical perspective. Now, number 1 is Higher Force in here, whom I think, while she ran very well last time, and I do think there's some other, pace challenges possibly in here, I do love her going 9 furlongs for Rudy Rodriguez here. She's been in great form for him. She is dappled head to toe. I just think she truly is that sort of 2-turn runner. She's only gotten to do it on the dirt once before, back at Saratoga when she was first off the claim. So maybe she can continue that upward trajectory. Now, moving on to a horse that I think could and should be the speed in here, in number 5, a Grace and Grit. As I remember her former trainer, John Kimmel, saying to me, I think she deserves a chance on the dirt. Well, I'm thinking that she still deserves a chance on the dirt, but maybe at a distance where she can get to the lead and not get any kickback in her face. She is a little bit of a squirrely type. As you can see, there is Kendrick Carmouche getting the leg up on her. Her weight looks tremendous for her. Relative to what I've seen from her in the past, she's carrying great conditioning, all things considered. And Greg, who knows, if she gets comfortable out in the front end, could she be capable of taking this field gate to wire?
We'll see if she does. The 6 is pretty quick next door.
She is. Now, she's
for
not,
this field.
Yeah, for this field, for sure. She's not always, right onto the front. She did go right to the lead when going a mile last time out, but Grace and Grit, she's such an energetic type, as Maggie touched on, and I think she was really helped with the scratch of chasing daylight. With a rider like Kendrick Carmouche, I imagine he will be aggressive with her.
Higher force kicks things off from the inside, 2-1 favorite.
I agree. I prefer her going the 2 turns. She pressed last time out. I think this is a good spot for her.
Purpose had the maiden breaker back in February.
She's been knocking on the door at the 2-turn distance.
Back check, Miguel Clement, first time on dirt.
Has that pedigree to suggest she should be able to handle it, as we mentioned.
Grace and Grit, was forward last time on dirt 2 starts ago.
That was going 7 furlongs. Maybe longer will help her.
Capital Gal 5-1, Ricardo Santana Jr.
Has been more of a sprinter, but did finish second, going 1 1/8, 2 starts back.
And Kara's Dreamweaver, ever since winning back in January, it's been tough going.
It has been, and she often leaves herself with a bit too much to do, and it seems they've been consistently searching for what is the best spot for her.
5 minutes to post here in the 7th, 1 1/8, New York bred. First level allowance race coming up. A higher force from the rail, the 2-1 favorite.
The Cup is calling at the Breeders' Cup with Naira Bets. Download the Naira Bets app or sign up at nairabets.com to get a $25 free bet and $200 deposit match bonus today. Watch live horse racing, get expert picks, and boost your bankroll with lucrative promotions. Play the Breeders' Cup World Championships with Naira Bets. New players sign up now to claim your $25 free bet and $200 deposit match only with Naira Bets.
Back with you on our Thursday coverage here on Fox Sports 2. We get set for race 7. 1 1/8, 2 turns in this New York bred A other than allowance. Program brought to you in part by Hillendale at Alapa. 9-5 favorite, as we thought, higher force, a 1. would be the favorite here at post time. Looks like that is going to be the case. And with that inside post, that first turn, it comes up so quick. You would expect they'll try and be aggressive here.
I would think so, and she does have some natural early kick as she was pressing Capital Gal last time out. They both ended up getting run down by the winner of that race. And this is actually, I'm sorry. Yeah, last time out, sweet anniversary. But Higher Force is a horse that has the ability to be forward, has the ability to stalk or press as needed. And I think from the inside, Ruben Silvera picking up the mount for the injured Romero Mirage. We're going to see her get into a good forward position and not have to be kind of stuck in any sort of chasing spot or be caught wide into the first turn going the mile and an eighth. I've just always felt she's such a tall and leggy type. This actually is a good spot for her. She ran well behind Box Wine, 2 back.
So 9-5 here. She will stretch back out where she was very effective, just missing after being on the lead throughout at a mile and an eighth back on August 29th at Saratoga. Here's one with a rider off here. Kara's Dreamweaver. No Dylan Davis. He's there waiting in the background.
Looks like they are adjusting the tack on her. She is a horse that is, as you can see, quite high energy. She's also one that's very tall and leggy and is always built like she wants to go longer, looking like they are adjusting the girth and moving the saddle up. Sometimes horses, if they're a little bit more narrow withered, or sometimes even if they're just a little bit quirky and tricky prior to the race, that saddle can kind of slip back. So gate crew stepping in there to help with the saddling, and Dylan checking to make sure that it's exactly where you want it to be. If it slides too far back on them and it's off where their withers are, it can be incredibly uncomfortable for a jockey. And also when they kind of have to perch and need their balance, if the saddle's not in the right spot, you'd rather have it done before the race begins.
All right, so just about sorted. And Dylan will hop back aboard. 13-1 outside post, Kara's Dreamweaver. Let's go back down to Maggie.
And let me tell you, it's even worse when it goes forward. Saddle slipping up a horse's withers or neck is, in my opinion, worse than it slipping back. I've had it both ways, and let me tell you, I was screaming for the outrider when it went up their neck. But taking a look at Purpose in here, gosh, I wish she had a fast race showing, because yet again, she looks fabulous here, but she on paper just slow. And I mean, she was soundly beaten by Higher Force last time. I wish I could come up with some explanation of why she could win here. Maybe there's a little bit of pace for her to close into. I don't necessarily see it. I will say though, she looks fantastic. Paddock, trackside, we'll see how she does here. Is taking some money there at 4-1. Greg?
Going to be pretty far back around this field here. We'll see. Higher Force from the rail, the 7-5 favorite. Let's send it upstairs. Chris Griffin, the call.
Grit. Two out. Capital Gal. Kara's Dreamweaver. Kara's Dreamweaver. Last to load. Goes in. All set. And they're off. Bobble at the beginning there for back check. And at the rail, Higher Force is hard sent well off the rail, and Higher Force will clear, is in front in the 2-path here and leads them into that first turn. Capital Gal is now going to be a well-settled second, just going to stalk that pace setter. Back check is a close-up third. Far outside, Kara's Dreamweaver is a challenging fourth, while wide, second to last. Purpose and the trailer, Grace and Grit. Higher Force was intent on getting to the lead and now slows things down. 24-4 for the opening quarter mile. It's Higher Force so far. Capital Gal is right there, 3/4 of a length back in second. Starts to move in closer with Backcheck, who just lost a spot too. Kara's Dreamweaver, who's now taken third. Just behind them, the two trailers, Purpose and Grace and Grit. Moderate tempo and Higher Force is there. Higher Force, a half length in front of Capital Gal, who's not going anywhere. 48-4 for that half-mile time as they're working up the backstretch. And Ruben Silvera, Higher Force are in front. Grace and Grit is the first move made from the back of the pack with less than a half mile to go. Kendra Carmouche splitting rivals here and makes a quick move here with Grace and Grit. Wants to be up closer to this pace setter. Back check now. Backing out of it is back to 5th. They're chasing Higher Force. Capital Gals all in. Grace and Grit, the only one making up some ground right now, is about to engage and take second. Had to work to get there. Higher Force now gets the cue to kick for home. It is Higher Force still in front. Grace and Grit, that sustained rally from the back end of the field. Can Grace and Grit keep the momentum going? Higher Force is not done. Higher Force is still there. A furlong left to go. Higher Force is opening up the margin. Grace and Grit continues to give game chase. Higher Force 2 in front. Higher Force takes them all away. Higher Force wins it. Grace and Grit give it to Capital Gal and Kara's Dreamweaver in 1 minute 50.35 seconds.
Ruben Silvera, he's always going to be aggressive when he can. He had that inside position. He took advantage, and Higher Force able to hold off Grace and Grit with a late run here.
Higher Force, she's shown she can handle the mile and an 8th. As far as Grace and Grit, she ran very well, especially given the fact that she, for no particular reason, just didn't really have much speed today, and she was last, and she did come running on, just second best, not able to go by the leader. She's not an easy horse to ride, though. She's done this before where she kind of lifts her head up, and I remember John Kimmel had experimented with equipment on her. She put a shadow roll on her. She used to wear a Sherwin to keep the bit in place and kind of help as far as getting air in, and she just runs with that awkward head carriage, but Kendrick obviously familiar with her. She runs on to be second, but I think tactical advantage far and away goes to Higher Force.
1, 5, 6, 7 finish, 6-5 favorite. With the victory here from that inside slot, wins for just the second time in 12 starts. But with her recency, with his form on dirt, looked like she might be tough, and she indeed was. As we get you back to Horseshoe Indy, we'll have these prices in a moment and get to the nightcap here in New York. This 5th Horseshoe Indy on the turf at a mile. Rails out 36 feet. Turf course labeled good for this conditioned $12,000 claiming race.
Yeah, we have a 3-1 favorite all the way to the outside in Texas Cyclone, who does have speed, but outside post.
Here's Train and Trust at 12-1.
Yes, that's the wrong graphics. That's for New York. Train and Trust, a horse that has no early speed.
Durbas, blinkers coming off. Last time on turf, got a 63 buyer.
Yeah, she ran well that day, he ran well, I should say, finishing 3rd.
Phraseologism, big number.
A horse that is taking a drop in class did face a bit better last time in the grass.
Vino Caldo, contender.
Horse that's been kind of knocking at the door, finished in front of Durbas in that July race.
I'm just going to say the 5.
Yes, I agree. Getting back to the turf, did face far better last turf try.
Yeah, okay, form on the grass for sure. The 6, Chances Taken, rider change.
Has been facing softer on the grass recently.
Any positives for Ghost Prince?
Hard to recommend this one.
Recent turf form has been pretty abysmal. Rancho just won 5 furlongs on the grass.
Is slightly raced, did run okay, 2 back going longer.
Dowie, this one first time on turf.
Getting onto the turf for the first time, 8-1, has some decent dirt form.
Win last out race taken off the turf, Extravagant Prince.
And was running okay on the grass prior to that.
Spun Sun, 24-1.
Stepping up in class.
And Texas Cyclone, it's the favorite outside.
Yeah, it does have speed, ran very well 2 starts back, going to use that speed and finishing second at this level.
Let's go to Rachel.
The current favorite right now, 12, Texas Cyclone, looked really good in the paddock. I was watching him, and he was just yanking his groom around, just really feeling on the muscle in the paddock there. And I also talked to jockey Sammy Bermudez about the 2 back when he had that awkward start. He kind of pulled his head to the right when he came out, and he said, I'm going to tell you the truth, Rachel, I do not like that we got on the outside because I'm afraid he's going to do that again. So something to kind of consider when you're betting. I mean, he's 2-1 right now, but is getting back to a mile, so going down a little bit in distance where he has a recent second, so recent form at this distance here. A couple other ones I wanted to mention that might be a little bit of a long shot here. The 8 is 8-1. That's Rancho. I just want to tell you guys, Ramos, a double already today. He's had 2 triples this week. That is 10 wins in the last 5 racing days, including today, and we're obviously not done. So just cannot tell you guys how hot Ramos is, and I know exactly what he's doing. Fernando de la Cruz is in the lead. He has won a riding title 2 years back. Joe Ramos has, and he is hungry, very hungry to close that gap between him and Fernando. First time with winners, obviously, is a step up, owned and trained by Ray Hernandez as well. And then the 9 Dawi, this is a horse that's dropping down, obviously, won at 8, now at 12.5, looks really good. You could tell that Dawi felt good in the paddock. He was moving so smoothly. They had to stop to turn around a couple times, and he just took that in grace. You could tell he wanted to go, but he didn't act unruly at all, which I love that sign when they have to do something they don't want to do, and they still, you know, kind of take it all in stride. It shows kind of a smart, mentally smart horse. So 9 Dawi for trainer Lily Gonzalez did look really good to me as well. Those are my thoughts here on the 5th race, you guys. It's been a great day. I'm going to go inside and get warm now.
All right, thank you, Rachel. 5-2 favoritism. You got to come that tough outside post position. The 12 Texas Cyclone with not really a very long run to that first turn. And then she brought up the 8 Rancho, who looks like is going to be the one in front.
Yeah, I would certainly think so. Stretching out from a 5-furlong turf sprint, did go long 2 starts back and finished 3rd at a generous price. To get a bit more of a price on this one, he's the son of Candy Ride. Certainly, you would think should be able to stretch out effectively, and we'll see if he can use that speed. I just imagine with the 12 to the outside, given the post, it'll be a tough trip to get some forward position.
John Dooley with the call. Start of the pick 4 mile on the turf. Here's the 5th from Horseshoe Indy.
Rodney Prescott with phraseologism. Danilo Gonzalez Rave, Dawi drew 9. Vino Caldo, Fernando de la Cruz on the Thursday scoreboard. Oscar Villarreal with Extravagant Prince. Up comes Mock Stakes with the top apprentice here this season, Jose Gutierrez. Just a few more back here for the turf mile. Now Extravagant Prince. Coco Mercia with chances taken. Spun Sun. Mitchell Burrow just 1 away from a half-century of wins here at the meet. Then one more. Sammy Bermudez with Texas Cyclone. First of 2 on the turf course here, good. Turf route was set at 36 feet this Indiana Champions Week. Here comes the 5th. All in. And they're off. Vino Caldo jumps away well, along with Mox Nix. Chances Taken is also forward, along with the gray Rancho. And Dawi coming with an early run to join Rancho toward the inside as they make the way toward the first turn with Danilo Gonzalez Rave. It's Dawi to the early lead from Rancho with 6 furlongs to go. Chances Taken toward the inside as they round the first turn is Mox Nix, and on the outside, Texas Cyclone running in 5th as these leaders go to the back of this good rated course. Vino Caldo broke sharp now, running in 6th position. On the outside is Spun Sun, who's gaining from 7th. Train and Trust is back in 8th. Then to the inside comes Durbos, who's running in 9th from Extravagant Prince, with on the outside Phraseologism, and Ghost Prince is last to the 12. Quarter 22.60 seconds. They go past the half-mile pole, and Dawi still leads the turf mile. Rancho staying close. Then in between horses, Chances Taken with toward the inside Mox Nix, who's just at Dawi's heels. Texas Cyclone in the green cap. Chances Taken is now running in 5th. Then Vino Caldo in 6th. Spun Sun with on the front side Phraseologism, who's coming wide and looking to gain ground coming toward the quarter pole. Train and Trust is past Durbos, Extravagant Prince, and finally Ghost Prince. Half mile 47.34 coming past the quarter pole. Here's Rancho and Dawi as they level up together. 3/4 1 minute 11.84 seconds. Mox Nix Nix is spying a gap kept in by Texas Cyclone. 1 furlong to go, and Rancho has a gray head in front of Dowie toward the inside with determination. Past the 16th pole together. Mox Nix, Texas Cyclone, late game by Train and Trust, along with Vito Caldo. It's Rancho. It'll be 3 for Joe Ramos. Rancho by a gray neck to Dowie. Train and Trust third, nearest at the finish. Then Mox Nix and Texas Cyclone next.
The hot hand keeps on going. Joe Ramos, Rancho, who sat just off of the 9 early on. Plenty left in the take to finish here.
Yeah, he was very game, able to get his nose down in front. And well, certainly one thing you could say about him is that he was lightly raced. He had plenty of upside to him, and he was able to put that on display in here as well. Able to finish well when it counted. Late rally from the 1, Train and Trust.
Yeah, that one ran well late. 8-9-1 finish, but it is Rancho the victory at 9-1. They're in the 5th from Horseshoe Indy.
In this sport, it takes just one special horse and a lot of people that believe in him. By Champion Arrogant from the family of Broodmare of the Year, Better Than Honor, rose to prominence in the Grade 3 Peter Pan, displayed power in the Grade 1 Belmont, cemented his 3-year-old championship in the Grade 1 Travers, defeating a champion 2-year-old, Kentucky Derby, and Preakness winners.
And the Eclipse Award goes to Arcangelo.
Arcangelo, standing at Lane's End.
Friday and Saturday night on America's Day at the Races, special team coverage for the Breeders' Crown, the year-end championship series from Woodbine Mohawk Park. Harness action Friday night, 8 Eastern, and Saturday, 7:30 Eastern on FS2.
The world's premier breeding stock event, the November sale at Fasig-Tipton. A top filly on the West Coast, Tenma won 3 of 4 starts at 2, including a signature win in the Grade 1 Del Mar debutante.
Tenma has won it.
She finished her juvenile season winning the Grade 2 Starlet, besting graded winner Look Forward. This year at 3, she picked up where she left off. She racked up a 6.5-length score in the Grade 3 Las Virgenes for owner Bayoma Corp and trainer Bob Baffert. From there, she captured the Grade 2 Santa Anita Oaks. Tenma is by champion Nyquist from the strong international family of multiple Group 1 winner Misty For Me, the dam of European champion U.S. Navy flag, and multiple Group 1 winner Roly Poly. The family also includes French champion Ballydoyle, European champion Fasliev, classic performers Menifee and Desert Wine, and Broodmare of the Year Ann Campbell. Grade 1 winner Tenma, selling this November with Hill and Dale at Elapa.
Back with you on our Thursday coverage here on Fox Sports 2. It's brought to you by Naira Bets, where you can play it all. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Race 7 in the books. And our winner circle lead-in brought to you by Fasig-Tipton's November sale after the Breeders' Cup, November 3rd in Lexington, Kentucky. Where will you be? Higher Force, Ruben Silvera, Rudy Rodriguez as the favorite.
Aggressive ride by Ruben Silvera, and it paid off. Got that inside position as Grayson Grit finished second. We thought she'd be forward. She ended up coming from last, and I think the tactics employed by Ruben made all the difference, especially for a filly in Higher Force that had shown she can certainly handle the distance.
Yeah, the 5, I didn't think it was going to be speed of the speed. I didn't expect to see this one last early.
I didn't expect to see her last. I thought she would try to be forward, but definitely not last.
Winds up a distant second, but it's Higher Force with the win. Again, as the favorite. $4.78 for the win. Healthy pick 3. Over $330 as we move on to the finale. Going to close things out. 6 furlongs over the outer turf. All for sale for $35,000 near horses who have only a maiden win on the resume, so non-winners of 2 life. 7-2. Favorite on the inside, Tom Morley Barn, Kyla's Cause. Talk more about it when we come back. Competitive group. To close things out on this Thursday card here at Belmont at the Big A, we'll talk how good and how deep this exciting group is in this year's Breeders' Cup Classic when we come back. Stay with us.
We do this so your granddaughter can work on a farm someday. So the stands will still be packed in 50 years. That's why we come to work every day, obsess over every single detail. Because the story of racing is written one moment at a time. And the future of our industry deserves nothing less. Keeneland, every moment matters.
Beautiful Thursday afternoon here in New York as we get set for the finale coming up on this Thursday card. We're approaching the 9-minute mark to post here on our Fox Sports 2 coverage. And we teased the Breeders' Cup Classic going to break. It seems like this year the premier race has the premier attention sort of around it with all the big names that are getting set to line up in this year's edition of the Classic. This is the group that will go forward, obviously headlined by, shockingly, you have a winner of the race coming back to do it back-to-back. Then that's not your headliner. It is the Derby, Belmont, and Travers winner, Sovereignty. Is this the deepest field we've seen in the last decade in the Classic?
I would say that it might be, should everybody line up in the starting gate as it should be. I think, looking through the charts of the races in the last decade, we've seen some incredible performances. You think back to Flightline in 2022, but you look through who was behind him. Was it kind of the one horse that you were really looking forward to? For me, one of the ones in the last decade that was probably the deepest field altogether was the California Chrome and Arrogate 2016 Breeders' Cup Classic. Even American Pharoah's Breeders' Cup Classic in 2015, I think top to bottom was an incredibly tough race. Of course, he was dominant, having won the Triple Crown, and then go on to the Breeders' Cup Classic. But this is probably, in the last couple of years, the Breeders' Cup Classic that I am the most excited about seeing, not just because you have one or even two horses, but you have last year's very, very good top three coming back in the strong older horses, a division that has been lacking in the last few years. And then you have the really exciting up-and-coming three-year-olds, not just Sovereignty, but also the likes of Journalism and Baeza going on as well. So for me, it's that great matchup of the young up-and-comers and the older horses that we really hope to see in a Breeders' Cup Classic.
Certainly one of the deepest, and having the top three finishers back is great. Hard to look at a group that had Flightline, Olympiad, Taba, Life is Good. Epicenter ran a 112 in the Travers. To think this group might, I don't know, that was a really good group, and a group that you Gunrunner, Arrogate. Let's get Maggie's thoughts. Obviously, we're all excited about it. So many good storylines too. What are your thoughts?
This is the Breeders' Cup Classic that I have been the most excited about in the last 10 years. Yes, I was over the moon to be there at Keeneland to watch Flightline, but he was kind of a one-man band. He was the star of the show. He performed, but he didn't really beat much that year. And for me, throughout the past decade, the older handicap division has been lacking. Now, this year, however, first 3 finishers from last year's Classic and the horses that have just been so good as 3-year-olds. I was probably the most excited about this group heading into the Kentucky Derby, and they have bore that out on the racetrack with Sovereignty leading the charge. And still, I mean, even to think before the Kentucky Derby, I was a bigger journalism fan. He has done nothing to disgrace himself. And Fierceness, what he can do out on the West Coast, he's already a Breeders' Cup winner himself too, and running well in defeat last year. So for me, I think this group is the most exciting. Yes, I liked horses like Arrowgate, California Chrome, but just as a whole, I mean, outside of the Rabbit for Sierra Leone, every single one of them are Grade 1 winners, and they deserve to be there, and I can't wait for the show that they're going to put on this coming Saturday.
Yeah, just the storylines too. We've never we had Tiz Now go back-to-back and win 2 classics. No one else has ever done it. Sierra Leone a chance to do that. We have a horse in Sovereignty who's accomplished something no one in the history of the sport ever has. Derby, Belmont, Jim Dandy Travers, and he's going to be the horse to beat. And he just keeps getting better as the year's gone along. So much excitement for this year's Classic. And it's great to have that rate, the premier race, as the one that we're most excited about.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what, I mean, first and foremost, you know, we cover races every day, but we are fans of the game first and foremost. And I think what we all want is for all of these horses to show up with their best effort and see who can decide it on the racetrack. And I think kind of what Maggie and I are talking about with the depth of the field is that it's top to bottom. It's not just a few kind of headliners who are in good form at the time and maybe some that have a little bit of question form. You have a strong number of horses who are in good form right now and are coming into a race where it's as it should be. It will be decided on the track for that horse of the year-end championships, older horses, things like that.
Let's get to the post parade for this nightcap coming up. 6 furlongs outer turf happened just a few moments ago. Here is a look at Kyla's Cause, who, when we went to break, was the favorite, co-favorite right now.
I thought she ran very well when winning off the layoff 2 starts back. Her Achilles heel, even though she's sometimes able to get herself in some forward position, is kind of inviting trouble at the beginning of the race out of the gate.
First on this surface for the 2 Tough Love Torres.
Is by Cantharos, who I love turf sprinting. There was a sibling that won on the grass as well. Big layoff, though.
Win 2-back maiden claiming win, gold stamp.
And then last time out, finished 3rd. Does have some tactical speed, had some trouble at the beginning last time.
6-1 Midnight Love Affair gets a drop in class.
And that does seem to be right, especially as she broke her maiden for 52 back.
We'll get back to the 5, the 6, Second Chance.
Drop in class and return to the turf. She seemed to show some promise on grass at beginning.
Well, we know the 7's going to be a factor early, not sure about late.
Yes, that is the big question, though she did run against seemingly tougher at Meadowlands last time.
Leslie starts. Linda Rice, Jose Lizcano.
And this is a horse who will be coming from off of it. I think she'd need to work out a trip.
It's favorite right now. The 9 Wit, my anticipation, blinkers on.
Blinkers going on. See if that will help her, as she did not show much in the stretch last time.
Not a lot of love for Parade Ring. 3-1 Morning Line was just 4th at this level last start.
Yeah, she's been relatively consistent. She ran 2nd 2 starts back. She's another one that has been coming from far off of it.
And I believe, yeah, there's the 5 McTimore, who has some hidden, pretty strong turf form, including last summer, Saratoga, or 2 summers ago, I should say.
Yes, Mike Maker looking for the 4th win today, as she did show a little bit of promise on the grass early on in her career.
How'd you feel about Parade Ring here for the Anthony Dutrow barn?
Well, the barn has been having an exceptional year. My big concern with her is that she is a horse that lately in her last couple, since breaking her maiden, has been coming from really far off of it. Last time out, she did have a shoe repair in the paddock. Didn't seem to be get too shaken by it, but maybe she did, because she did just end up breaking slowly and kind of taking herself out of the race early.
Yeah, that start did not help things, but then did make up a lot of ground. Several others I thought had more upside in this field today.
Yeah, I certainly think that's fair. It took her some time to break her maiden. I think she's a turf sprinter, so she's sticking with the right kind of conditions. Thought she ran well 2 starts back, but again, had a little bit of trouble and was off the pace. Last time she broke slowly again too. I think she's best when she can kind of put herself into the race a little bit, so we'll see what Ricardo Santana can do with her today. And there's Kyla's Cause, the 5 in the West Point colors as well. She did not have an easy trip of it last time. She was, as mentioned, having a habit of bumping at the start, but she was also totally blocked in the stretch with nowhere to go.
2 minutes to post. Coming up, meanwhile, the 2-horse Tough Love Torres, long time away, and we'll try a new surface for the first time. Let's go to Maggie.
Yeah, can Mike Maker also get his 4th winner on this card as Tough Love Torres? I do like Acacia, really like Contenders when his progeny are sprinting on the turf. And on the bottom side, the lone sibling to try the turf did win 1 of her 2 starts on the surface. So she does look like a turf sprinter. The problem is kind of what her problem was early on in her career as a 3-year-old last year, is that she's just a little goofy. She was green, didn't really affect the way that she ran. She ran well in both of those starts on the dirt. She had to break post parade. She took off with Kendrick Carmouche, and no, it was not Kendrick actually asking her to do so. She did it on her own. As you can see, she's quite edgy out there. But despite that demeanor, she doesn't have that much early speed. At least she didn't on the dirt. So with the layoff in mind, though, and I appreciate the fact that she has grown and filled out, I wonder how fit she ultimately is, and is she just kind of getting herself a little bit too keyed up here heading to post. Moving on to Mike's other horse, that's number 5, Mac Tamor. She finally broke through, and start number 9. It was against a pretty hungry field there at Turfway Park on the synthetic, but yeah, she is much more of a turf sprinter. I wonder, back in her races for John Ortiz, she did have a little bit of early speed. It seems as like it's gone by the wayside a bit there. She does come, but I should say she's shown that speed when coming off layoffs. She even did for her first start for Mike Maker at Gulfstream. So again, she's coming off a layoff. She was very sharp in the paddock. I wonder if she does find herself a little bit more forward today. Now moving on to the logical contenders that come out of that September 26th race. Yes, Kyla's Cause had to eat it and Johnny Velasquez for the entire stretch that day. And unfortunately, she's a filly that really does not like being on the inside. So being drawn towards the rail is not ideal. Looks great. Is an edgy sort, but settled nicely when she hit the track. Now, number 8, Leslie Starr, is a horse I like a lot on paper. I thought she had a tough trip last time. She was chasing on the far, far outside, but just kind of came up evenly. Linda Rice seems really committed to sprinting her on the turf. She does not look like a turf sprinter. She looks like she wants to go a mile on the turf, and she's one I never particularly can warm up to. But if she can work out some kind of trip, I do think that despite me not thinking she's a turf sprinter, her 2 races have been good. I did land ultimately on Parade Ring, though. She's had her chances, Greg, but she looks great here again, and hopefully a better trip, but so is everybody else. Now she's 3-1.
Yeah, 3-1 was 5-1 at one point. Now the public finally starting to come around. We'll see if she can break through this afternoon in her 9th opportunity on the grass. 1 for 8 coming in, but just her 3rd try against winners. You wound up where?
I went to the 4, Midnight Love Affair, taking a little bit of a shot with her, 7-2. I think she just faced much better, was totally run off her feet with Shoot It True. Much better company last time, and back in the right spot, see if she can go back to being forward on the turf.
Chris Griffin with this finale on the card. And we will have, no matter what happens, a pick 6 carryover.
Wow.
Parade Ring. Parade Ring. Stepping in. All set. And they're off. Gold Stamp has early speed, and now comes Mac Tamor in between horses as well, as it's a scramble on for the front end. It's a hot pace early 4 across the course. Midnight Love Affair is in that early mix with At the Rail Gold Stamp. Joining them towards the outside is Aerialist, backing off of that early tempo. Rosario and Mac Tamor didn't want to be with the early heat, is backed off, is now in 4th, is followed to the outside here from Parade Ring. And behind them in 6th, that's going to be Kyla's Cause, and towards the outside of that rival comes Tough Love Torres. Towards the back end of the field, Leslie Starr. The 2 2 at the back. That's Second Chance, and My Anticipation 21.70 for that opening quarter mile. And Aerialist is airing on the field, has put 4 on Rivals. Can Aerialist at 42-1 keep this going? Aerialist hugs the rail. Dylan Davis, they're in front still. Aerialist, here come the closers and Parade Ring towards the outside, but they got to pick it up, and now strides are shortening on Aerialist. Midnight Love Affair down to the inside. Tough Love Torres is trying to rally on. My Anticipation, Jamie Rodriguez, they're lifting grandstand side with a ton of momentum. Aerialist is tired up front. Midnight Love Affair, My Anticipation with every stride, won it. My Anticipation wins the finale over Midnight Love Affair. Then came Mac Tamor, voted 4th, then 1 minute 9.51 seconds.
My Anticipation, 14-1, blinkers on. Miguel Clement Barn.
That did help, and the fast pace certainly helped as well. Great ride by Jamie Rodriguez, who is shifting his tack here to New York. Won the riding title over at Delaware. Obviously has had some big wins for Miguel too, and getting the mount on this one. He was patient. I thought a good trip as well for Midnight Love Affair, who came up the inside, and she was kind of right there, almost kind of waiting on horses a little bit. As you see, she was maybe shortening just a touch, and she re-engaged when the 9 came alongside, but just a little bit more momentum from My Anticipation on the outside.
And I didn't want to say anything, but Acacia was incredibly disappointed at this outcome. I know you like the 4. Never seen you so disappointed.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
kidding.
Okay.
I'm kidding. Not at all. 14-1 here. Big way to close things out. We already knew going in. We had a pick 6 carryover. And had we not, we probably would have anyway with this horse at a big number closing out. Tough day to come up with this sequence. No one does. So we will carry over into our Friday action. Do a little extra hand. Are you talking horses tomorrow?
I am talking horses tomorrow,
okay.
Yes.
We will need some
best.
winners from Acacia and Andy. We're back tomorrow, 1 Eastern start time on our coverage, as Mike Maker has a big afternoon with a couple of victories. He was 1-2 in that turf sprint as well. And we got to see that really fun horse from Horseshoe Indy as well run that streak. Last year's horse of the meet. To now 14 for 18 lifetime with that victory by Cupid's Runaway. See you tomorrow, 1 Eastern start time. Fox Sports 2 was Atomic Age in race 2. The other Chad Brown runner up for an Oscar, the odds-on favorite. This one at a price, though, with Jose Lezcano getting the opportunity for Chad Brown's barn. The victory in the second, race 6. Part of those back-to-back wins for Mike Maker. Joel Rosario on Nishika in the 6th, and then Higher Force leading every step of the way under Ruben Silvera for Rudy Rodriguez to take race 7. We'll see you tomorrow.
Pandagate has now taken the lead and quickly opens up here. Pandagate with a quick burst really handled this field, won by 7 or 8 lengths at the end.
Welcome to Adelphi Racing Club's unparalleled partnership experience. Exclusive access to the backstretch at Belmont and Saratoga, premier accommodations on race day, and of course, experience excitement like no other. Contact us today to get a taste of the Adelphi difference.
The 2025 Global Symposium on Racing. It's the premier networking event of the year. Connect with the who's who of racing. Collaborate face-to-face with key decision makers. Be a part of the international conversation. Discover the latest technology and innovation. Join us December 8th through 10th. Register at racingsymposium.com.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.